Trump just suggested to nationalize voting. Cal. Must I remind you of a thing called the United States Constitutional? Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 says straight up, elections are to be done by the states. And I'm sorry, this is a code freaking red alert moment coming from the guy who tried to steal the 2020 election. Are you done? No, Cal, wake the fuck. Let me know when you're done. I mean, coming from the guy who once tweeted to terminate the Constitution, it should be no surprise that he's trying to terminate the Constitution. All right, follow my lead. Shut up. All right, if you read the Constitution, it does give the federal government the power to regulate state elections and set a national standard. We did this in the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the Help America Vote Act of 2002. Okay, but Trump didn't say regulate. He said nationalize, and that's a word that doesn't have much nuance. It means the federal government takes control, and we know Trump has filled his administration with election deniers. We know Trump sometimes goes on unfiltered rants where I don't even know if he recognizes the gravity of what he's saying, but it is true that Congress is currently working on the SAVE Act, which would put more federal regulation on states, particularly requiring voter ID. Maybe that's what he was talking about. We saw an FBI raid in an election office in Georgia last week where both DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard and the Deputy Attorney General showed up, and now we have the guy who tried to overturn an election straight up saying nationalize elections, and it's still a joke to you. When is it not? Even if he's serious, the constitutional guardrails remain robust, but I don't think he is. He has said on numerous occasions he's sort of expecting to lose the midterms. Now can we talk about why Democrats are against voter ID? We're against, in principle, any new federal regulations on elections from the guy who tried to steal an election. That's a very substantive argument. Thank you. Yeah, it actually is. Okay.
All right, guys, and we are live. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we're about to go ahead and get into this Trump interview, and more of it's going to be released later on during the stream, so we'll probably tune back in. And then, we're, of course, going to do a complete media analysis, of course, on Trump trying to regulate voting standards in states. And then, of course, with these Iran updates, because it's looking like, well, conflict with Iran is imminent.
We are coming on the air with breaking news from right here in Washington, D.C. I just sat down with President Trump for an exclusive interview inside the Oval Office. He made a lot of news on a variety of topics, from immigration enforcement to interest rates to the military buildup against Iran. Right from the get-go, the president made a big headline on immigration. Earlier today, the man in charge of enforcement operations in Minneapolis, Tom Homan, announced 700 agents will be leaving that city. The president now says that order came directly from him, and it may signify a larger change in tactics. Let's listen. Okay, let's drill down into the news today. That big change on immigration, 700 officers leaving Minneapolis. Did that come from you?
Yes, it did. But it didn't come from me because I just wanted to do it. We are waiting for them to release prisoners, give us the murderers that they're holding, and all of the bad people, drug dealers, all of the bad people. We allowed in our country, I say 25 million people with an open border policy for 4 years under Biden and that group, the AutoPen group, I call them. We allowed to come into our country people the likes of which no country would accept. And we're getting them out. Yeah. But we've gotten a lot of them out. So crime now in Minnesota, crime now in Minneapolis is down. Crime in all cities is down. And you know why it's down? It's down because of us. It's down in Chicago by 25%, despite the fact that we are always dealing with these people, and they happen to be Democrats.
Right. Speaking of
that don't know anything about crime prevention.
Mr. President, speaking of Minneapolis,
So here's the thing. I believe there was already like 1,000 ICE agents in Minnesota or in Minneapolis. This was like before the Renee Good shooting. Trump bought 1,000 more after the Renee Good shooting. So we're sitting anywhere between maybe, I don't know, 1,500 to 2,000 ICE agents, and Trump withdraws 700 of them. Right now, that means there's probably at least over 1,000 ICE agents still in that area. So, yeah, he did pretty much, I guess, soften the touch.
What did you learn?
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals. But look, I've called the people. I've called the governor. I've called the mayor, spoke to them, had great conversations with them. And then I see them ranting and raving out there, literally as though a call wasn't made.
We also spoke with President Trump about the Federal Reserve after he announced his latest pick to lead the agency, Kevin Warsh. The president has been vocal that he believes interest rates should be lowered, but the Fed is an independent agency that does not answer to the president. Let's get to the Fed. Is there any doubt in your mind that interest rates are going to be lowered?
Not much.
Why? How can you say that?
I just think they're going to be lower. I mean, they should.
Is your new Fed pick on board with that?
We're way high. Okay, we're way high in interest. We have now, with me and with all the money, I've always been good at money. And with all the money coming into our country, we're a rich country again. We have debt, but we also have growth. And the growth will soon make the debt look very small. Because it's the greatest way, you have two ways. You can cut, and we do that anyway, and we did that. You know, we got rid of hundreds of thousands of federal workers. Yeah. And those workers went out and got themselves jobs in the free enterprise system. And you know what? That's called making America great again.
And if you wasn't listening to like why Elon cut all those federal workers, we literally have federal workers working the same position. So one job had 4 people working it, all getting paid around that 50 to 70K salary that the government usually provides, all on taxpayer dollars. Yeah, that was a problem. So we really have people just sitting around not doing too much, but getting paid by the American taxpayer.
We had 10 workers in the federal government for every single job. When the Democrats go in, they hire. I could right now give you the best employment numbers in history. You know what I do? Go out and hire 2 million people, put them in the federal government.
Does your new Fed pick,
do the opposite.
Yeah, does your new Fed pick understand that you want him to lower interest rates?
Oh, I think he does, but I think he wants to anyway. I mean, if he came in and said, I want to raise them,
if he said that, he wouldn't have gotten the job.
He would not have gotten the job, no.
I also asked the president about the growing tensions between the U.S. and Iran. The president has sent an armada to the region and has threatened military action. Should the supreme leader in Iran be worried right now?
Yep.
I would say he should be very worried, yeah.
Yeah, he should be very worried, because if I know how America is, or how we strike, we're going to strike them in a way that we can just take out their leadership and not have to deal too much with the army. You know, just kind of let the regime change happen from there. Or, we know, once we cut the head off, we kind of just let the chicken run around wild. So it seems like that's what we're going for. And I'm pretty sure that's what Trump is going for, is a direct strike on leadership. So we really don't got to deal too much with the Iranian army, even though these guys are set to prepare to strike military bases in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is already, sadly gave Iran the green light. I mean, like, bro, I thought you was our allies, but it is what it is. It is what it is. They don't want to get dragged into it. I get it. But they have given Iran the green light to strike those bases, and them not seeing it as attack on them. And yes, Saudi Arabia's leader, or their king, has advised Trump not to strike Iran because they're not prepared for the retaliation themselves. Not for our safety, but for theirs, and Israel too.
He should be. As you know, they're negotiating with us.
I know they are, but the protesters have said, you know, where are the Americans? You promised them we would have their back. Do we still have their back?
We've had their back. And look, that country's a mess right now because of us. We went in, we wiped out their nuclear.
So that's the question. If we want them out,
we have peace in the Middle East. Yeah. If I didn't take out their nuclear, think of it. If we didn't take out that nuclear, we wouldn't have peace in the Middle East, because the Arab countries could have never done that. They were very, very afraid of Iran. They're not afraid of Iran anymore. We wiped out those beautiful B-2 bombers. One's right over there. Those beautiful little model. Those beautiful B-2 bombers went in and they hit their target, every single bomb, and obliterated it. And because of that, they were going to have a nuclear weapon within 1 month. Yeah. Within 1 month, they were going to have a nuclear weapon. Yeah. That was a big threat. That they're not going to have it anymore.
But if we obliterate it, what's the deal about? I mean, if there's no more, are they trying to restart the nuclear program?
I heard that they are, and if they do, and I let them know, if they do, we're going to send them right back and do their job again.
So your understanding is they tried to restart it, and that's why you're threatening force?
They tried to go back to the site. They weren't even able to get near it. There was total obliteration. But they were thinking about starting a new site in a different part of the country. We found out about it. I said, you do that, we're going to do very bad things to you.
We also want to mention, after our interview off camera, the president called Savannah Guthrie and spoke to her, offering words of support for her and her family as they search for their mother. The president discussed a lot more, including whether he'll accept the results of the midterm elections if Republicans lose, and his surprising opinion on former President Bill Clinton. We'll have all of that tonight on Nightly News at 6:30 Eastern, and an extended version on Top Story at 7 p.m. Eastern on our streaming channel, NBC.
Man, I'm gonna be real with you, man. Trump, midterms might just be cooked for us. It might just be. I mean, look, bro, if we're making dumb mistakes like we did in District 18 in Texas, if we're doing dumb-ish like that, we might just be cooked. And it's not even going to be Trump's fault. It's just going to be, the terrible leadership inside the Republican Party. Or the terrible candidates that we're putting out there, or the terrible election strategies that we employ. It is what it is. Either one is going to take us out the game. But we'll see if they can correct course, or maybe too late.
I'm doing buildings. I built a hotel, the Waldorf it's called, and I did it for around $200 million. It's a much bigger job. They're spending almost, it could be $4 billion. I'll tell you what, I don't even see an end in sight. I feel badly for the new Fed chairman because he may not have an office for 4 years. I don't know what these people are doing. So it's either gross incompetence or it's theft of some kind or kickbacks. I don't know what it is, but Janine Pirro is incredible and she'll figure it out. But no, you want to take it and just find out what happened, because we can't go around doing a renovation of a small little complex, very small, couple of little buildings, and spend billions and billions of dollars on it. Something went wrong. We have to find out what it was. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, thank you. Speaking of renovations, you announced you wanted to build a new and spectacular entertainment complex at the Kennedy Center.
Right.
Do you plan on tearing it down, and how much will all of the renovations cost?
Probably around $200 million. And, it's funny, in real estate and building, I've done so much of it. I've done so well with it. You want to sit with something for a little while before you decide on what you want to do. And, we sat with it. We ran it. It's in very bad shape. It's run down. It's dilapidated. It's sort of dangerous. Things fall out of ceilings. You've seen it. And we had some big events there. We had a lot of great events there over the last year, but you can't do any work because people are coming in and out, and you have the workmen. We have a marble man over there the other day. He said, every time I put down a piece of marble, people are stepping on the marble. They don't even have time to dry. And you can't do the same quality job if you close it. And, we're fully financed. And so we're going to close it, and we're going to make it unbelievable, far better than it ever was. And we'll be.
All right, now let's go ahead and get into the right side of media here with Fox News. Sorry there, guys. Just had to go set up the videos real quick. Kind of got accidentally X some of them out.
As you can see, these women mentally and emotionally are on the edge of a cliff. It only takes the slightest push for these babes to transition into vigilantes. But sitting members of Congress are justifying murdering men in uniform.
The attacks on American citizens by masked hoodlums.
Bro,
if you were attacked by a masked person, you might think you were being kidnapped. You'd be justified in shooting the person.
And you see how these people sound dumb. You always think, like, it's crazy how everybody else know what the police officers look like, but these protesters. Like, oh, he's masked, and I didn't know who he looked like. What you mean? He had ice right across his chest. He had police right across his chest. And you're talking about, well, he's masked. So now all of a sudden, I don't know if he's police or not. Okay, guys, keep playing stupid.
To protect yourself.
Jerry Nadler should be censured for condoning the murder of American police. We've reached out to Jerry Nadler's office. We haven't heard back. Members of Congress are telling the public ICE is kidnapping American women.
Women, especially Latinas and Asian American women and women of color, are not safe in Trump's America. We're not safe walking down the street.
Whoa. I mean, look here, sis. Look, if you're an undocumented immigrant or an illegal immigrant, which are the same thing, by the way. But if that's what you're identified as, it don't matter if you're Black, Asian, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. You're going to get deported. I'm sorry. Like, it is what it is. But we're not just picking up random women. We actually do care about, yes, if they're a citizen or not. Outside of what the news try to tell you on CNN, or outside what your radical liberal politician want to tell you, no, they're not just sweeping women up off the street with no, what's it called? Of course, not due process, but a reasonable suspicion.
Driving home, not when masked men jump out of their car to smash your car window.
This has gotten out of control.
Okay.
Politicians are terrifying the public. Politicians are supposed to lie to the public to keep us calm, okay? Like when they capture UFOs, they're supposed to tell us nothing to see here, just go about your business. Politicians aren't
At least he admitted.
supposed to purposely lie to cause mass hysteria and tell us they're armed kidnapping rings, stealing spicy Latinas from the street.
Oh, God.
Especially when actual Latin gangs are doing the kidnapping, the sex trafficking, and the torture. Just to be clear who the good guys and the bad guys are, Noam's buying everyone body cams.
Noam says there's going to be body cameras available. Does that make a difference to you?
It's too little, too late, and I don't know if the cameras will be on all the time. Often what we've seen is that just before the heat.
I mean, create doubt at every corner. Y'all just cannot help yourselves. He's like, well, even if y'all do what we say, we're still not going to believe it. And it kind of goes into what Monty was grilling Sid on. It's like, well, even if we do an independent investigation, if it don't go your way, will you believe it? Will you take it as it is? I mean, that's kind of how we're looking at this guy right now. It's like, bro, even if we give you guys the cams and all that, we're not going to let you take the mask off. No, but we'll give the body cams. Even if that, you're telling me, oh, well, we don't know if it's be on. We don't trust them still. It's like, then what was the point of even asking for this if you still won't trust it?
Yes, the camera has been turned off.
Okay. Shree's saying that ICE agents are going to turn off their body cameras right before they throw young Asian women in an unmarked car where they're going to commit heinous acts upon them. Is this Shree's fantasy? What kind of sick people are we dealing with here? Who thinks of this stuff? First, they said illegals are like Anne Frank, hiding in the attic. Now they're calling ICE the Jews.
Minneapolis, which is currently under occupation. For us to dismantle this
occupation by your own government. That's a first. Yes, we here in Minneapolis are being occupied in the United States as a city within the United States. I mean, wow. Bruh. Occupation, okay.
Department that is not just rogue, but unlawful. And yes, obviously, if Kristi Noem does not resign and the president doesn't fire her, Democrats are ready and willing to impeach her.
How is occupying your own country a crime? Is Minneapolis on a reservation? How come Omar can enforce a border, but Trump can't? Now, if you thought the daddy issues couldn't get any worse, Democrats are making posters of Stephen Miller and putting them up on their walls.
I want to remind the American public of Stephen Miller. There's probably no single person in this government has done more damage and more harm to people across this country, immigrants and U.S. citizens, in the terror that is happening across this country than this man right here.
You know where Congressman?
I mean, bruh, wait, what did Stephen Miller do? He didn't even do nothing. I mean, I'm be honest with you, Stephen Miller don't run ICE. I mean, if you put Kristi Noem's picture up there, I would still think you're being a bit like harsh, but like at least it would make sense. Well, like, what does Stephen Miller got to do with any of this? Y'all just like to hate Stephen Miller for some strange reason. I don't get it, but there's a weird hate for Stephen Miller. Poor guy.
Garcia was born. Peru.
But they did make him look like a mob boss in that picture, though. Shout out Vanity Fair.
Where's his dad? We don't know. Mommy brought him over here when he was 5. He was illegal for a few years. Then someone gave him a green card. Garcia marries a guy and somehow gets elected to represent Long Beach, California. His district is 2/3 Hispanic and crawling with illegals. Now he's the first openly gay immigrant congressman. You see what's going on here? This guy Garcia is way out of step. 2/3 of the country want the state and locals to cooperate with ICE and get the illegals out. This is like...
Hey, yo, shout out Jet. He's like, not gonna lie, that's a good new logo for Mr. Clean Products. No, for real, though. If you want to add like a very serious tone to it, like get the grime out like a real man. And then go ahead and show Stephen Miller's Vanity Fair photo. Yeah, that would be a perfect Mr. Clean like logo.
Trans all over again. Democrats are way out on a limb. A lot of this noise is coming from California. You know why? One of the reasons, celebrities get in your head.
You didn't hear this same type of uproar from celebrities in Hollywood when the previous administration allowed an invasion of our nation's borders and allowed innocent women and girls like Jocelyn Nungaray and Laken Riley to be killed and raped and murdered.
Hollywood is an industry that has a nasty reputation for exploiting women. The casting couch, Cosby, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein. We all know how women get their roles there. Sometimes it's an open secret.
Most of the time.
Isn't it strange that Hollywood doesn't want to protect women from rape and save kids from getting molested? That's weird. What's that about? Biden let hundreds of thousands of children get trafficked into sanctuary cities, and they're fighting to the death to keep them there.
We do not need a surge. They know that if you come after New York City, you will destabilize the economic engine of the country. You do not want to go there.
Biden's migrant wave punched a $12 billion hole in New York's budget, sent crime to record highs. Rent went through the roof. Traffic and homelessness exploded. That's what destabilized New York. It got so bad, taxpayers fled to Florida and even Connecticut. Open borders are a weapon aimed right at the heart of America's most beautiful cities. This is what Cuba did. Peter Schweitzer articulates it in his latest book, The Invisible Coup. Castro put 150,000 Cubans, the dregs of society, on boats and sailed them to Miami. And they blew up.
Yo, shout out Tove. I think he means all the time. You know what? Same here, Tove. I'm of the same mindset. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit negative towards the women in the music and, entertainment industry or movie industry, but I'll be real with you. It does sound like most of them getting their job from the casting couch. If it ain't the casting couch, it's probably because they knew some Hollywood exec from a personal friend or something. It does look like it's not about your talent, but it's about who you know. A lot of talented actors out there. I mean, look at Tubi. Okay, I'm just playing. Don't look at Tubi. It's trash. But shout out Tove. Hey, member for 4 months. Appreciate the support. She says, this retard saying we don't know if the camera will be on. Omar acting like she about to be president. Probably thinks she can get special treatment by Dems to actually run. Jesse is not wrong. Now you're right about that. Shout out to appreciate the support and being in here for, well, I thought you was here a little bit longer than that, but hey, time flies.
South Florida. Mexico has been using migration as a weapon for decades. They want the Southwest back. The Mexican government says it's theirs.
Este es lo que era Estados Unidos.
This was the United States in 1830, and this was part of Mexico.
No.
We were settled there before the nation now known as the United States. The Mexican men and women who are settled in that place.
I mean, bro, how about this? We could just take all of Mexico and all y'all can be America since y'all want to talk about stolen land. How about we just take the rest of it? I'm getting tired of this stolen land BS. Because let me be real with you. Because it's stolen land or conquered land, you have all these amenities that you enjoy to this very day. Because of the stolen land, you have the freedom of speech, women's rights, all because of this so-called stolen land. So can y'all shut the F up? And you know what? F it. It could all be stolen land at this point. I don't even give it in. Let's just take all of Mexico. So we even got to talk about deporting them no more. We ain't even got to talk about stolen land. It's all us. How about that?
Are settled in what has always been their homeland.
That was the president of the Mexican Senate. And presidents of that country have been saying it for decades. They've called us invaders. They even declared Los Angeles the other Mexico. Remember in LA this last summer during the riots, Mexican flags just flying all over the place? The Mexican Senate said Mexicans are on our own territory. California, Nevada, Texas, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona.
Well, wait, and that's the crazy thing. Like, they're delusional. No, y'all are delusional. You lost this territory. That's why y'all call it stolen land. You just can't sit here and say, oh, no, this is actually our original territory. No, it don't work like that. You got to beat our ass first. Yes, you have to whoop our ass to get that land back, and you can't do it. Actually, if anything, we could take Mexico right now if we wanted to. But for some reason, we're being nice. So I think that these Mexicans should calm the F down before we start taking parts of Mexico. Like, to be real with you, because at this point, it's annoying. It is. It's like stolen land. It's like, bruh, can you whoop our ass for it? Can you? No. Then be okay with having Mexico. At least y'all still got that. If it wasn't taken over by the cartel, you'd be able to enjoy it more. Instead, y'all run y'all asses here. So shut up.
Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Wyoming We're going to reclaim our territory that you stole from us. Look around. This is how you take a country over without declaring war. And there's some Democrat Benedict Arnolds.
We are standing on native land, and Latino people are descendants of native people.
Bruh. I mean, like I said, if you can't whoop our ass for it, it don't matter. But shout out Jet. She says, he said, Mexico is welcome to come and try and take it back. Good luck dealing with the rednecks, you stupids. Like, literally, y'all forget where y'all going at? It's like, what, you really want to try to take those places back? Yeah, sure. And they're not going to do it. I mean, bro, Mexico F around try to take the land back, they'll lose land in the process. That was going to happen to Mexico. They try to F with us, they'll just lose all of Mexico. It is what it is. But is at this point, I'm just thinking, why not make all of Mexico America? I mean, now they'll be citizens. We ain't got, well, you guys can keep y'all neighbors. You'll just have to actually pay them, livable wages. You won't be able to pay them under the table no more since they're all citizens. So that goes out the window for you. I wonder how much you'll like them then. But hey, why not? Let's just take over all of Mexico.
And we cannot be told and criminalized simply for our identity or our status.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
But all right, now let's go over to the left side of media and let's see what's going on with them here, because apparently Republicans should be really worried when it comes to these special elections. And he's right, we should be, because what we did in these special elections was absolutely retarded. I have to go over this one more time just to reiterate how dumb what we did honestly was.
This morning, there are Republicans across the country who are nervous. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis put this on Twitter. He said, special elections are quirky and not necessarily projectable, a general election. That said, a swing of this magnitude is not something that can be dismissed. Republicans should be clear-eyed about the political environment heading into the midterm. What is he talking about? What has him and other Republicans so worried? CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton is here. And this is all about a special election for a Texas state Senate seat around Fort Worth.
That's exactly right. Texas 9, because what happened in Texas 9, it didn't just swing to the left, it took a rocket ship to the left. My goodness gracious, the Texas 9 Senate district election marches. This was a district that Donald Trump won by 17 points in 2024. The Democratic candidate in the special election on Saturday, won it by 14 points. That's an over 30-point shift to the left. Any Republican, unlike...
And I know the libs right now in the chat going like, let's fucking go. But sadly, guys, not what you think. So let's go ahead and go over to the ballot. This is what happened here. Shout out to this guy, Taylor Rament. But yeah, this is what happened. Now, Republicans did show up. So all the excuses that Fox News is trying to give you, like, oh, well, the weather, lame ass excuse, or, oh, well, voter turnout didn't go the way we wanted, lame ass excuse. No, you guys split the vote. Yes, they split the vote between the Republicans. So when the Republicans came out in about 62,000, so if it's all 62,000 came out and only had to vote for one of them, they'd have won that. Yes, they'd have won District 18, Senate seat 9. But no, they got cocky. It's always been a red district, so they got way too cocky. And guess what? They split the vote thinking that they were going to win. Thinking that, oh, no, it don't matter. We'll just blow out the Dem. It's really just a race between the Republicans. But no, actually, the Dem actually had more support than they thought, and they went ahead and split their vote up, which ended up screwing them. So, yeah, this is the blue wave. They're trying to trick you into thinking that's happening. No, it's not just everybody just flipped on Trump. It's just that they split the vote between Trump voters, which actually led to this. With this guy, John Hoffman, he honestly should have bowed out. And then it left this lady right here to go ahead and get those 62,000 votes, thus winning the race. But for some reason, they weren't smart enough to do that. But it is what it is. Let's get on to the other fiasco of Americans not trusting Trump to run the election. Not really trusting Trump, or trusting the federal government. Let's get into it.
With me now is CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Enton. He is running the numbers on America's faith in the election system. Harry, do Americans trust Donald Trump when it comes to running the election.
It's hilarious because it's like, it's the federal government. It's not like Trump is literally out here demanding, oh, they got to do this, that, and the third. And here's the thing. We agree. Look, most Americans agree with voter ID. You know that, right? Like, I'm being real with you, across the board, like Democrat and Republican, we all agree that, yeah, we should have voter ID. We should uphold election integrity. Like, not having it, there really is no good excuse for it. Actually, there's only racist excuses for it. To be honest with you, it's kind of effed up that y'all even make the excuse. But you know what? If you don't believe me and how this whole voter ID argument going against it is a bit racist, yo, check this out. This is freaking hilarious, guys. This is what they think of us. And I mean us, I mean like black people. It's tough. Or minorities in general.
What opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the.
So we don't got a BMV in the hood? I mean, I'm be real with you. There's a local BMV you can go to get your state ID and all that. So it's kind of crazy to making it sound like we're just dumb. Like, bro, even if we're 18, like, what, bro, you're an 18-year-old who don't know how to go to the BMV and get an ID. Bro, they even set you up with that in high school to get your state ID. So what are you talking about?
Kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they get identification.
You can always get ID.
Bro, the BMV is probably like 10 minutes outside the hood or the ghetto or the projects. It's not that far. To get your license situated, it is not that far. I'm not sure where you think we live in, guys. We are not in the butt fucks of nowhere. We are actually in the city most of the time when it comes to us, I guess, minorities that living in these impoverished areas where it's just desolate and you can't find no light or electricity for miles, and we're just living amongst the rats and roaches. Like, how can we ever hope to find a voter ID? How can we ever hope to get it, guys? We just need our white saviors to show us the way. It's like, what the fuck am I hearing right now? Oh man, the accidental racism is hilarious because they don't even know they're being racist. That's what's funny about it.
Areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs. You do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access.
Oh, and shout out to just set up here in the mood. And hey, yes, I am, because hey, they're outrageous today. They're outrageous, especially this video right here. And same thing as in the New York City mayorship. True. Hey, we'll get into Zoran in a little bit. Like I said, I covered how he's going through this $12 billion deficit in New York. So I wonder how he's going to fulfill all these promises of free crap when he don't got no money.
Access to the internet, you have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works. A lot of people have smartphones, but they might not have data. For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed. I also think there's a repression of black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And
bro, so you just assume that we're convicted felons? God damn it, lady. Like, woman. Yeah, this is sad. This is sad. They really do play on the ignorance of people. It's like, if I was to sit there and really tell them, I'm like, look, I could take you to a hood right now and show you how, they'll set you up with a state ID in high school in these impoverished areas, in poverty-stricken areas. But I mean, as soon as you're 18, I'm be real with you, you can go out there and get your ID by yourself. So it's kind of crazy how they're just making it seem like there's just no way we can get an ID. Actually, our parents will get us an ID just for our safety. And this is in the hood as well, not just in the middle class and upper class. Like, we do it down here in the bottom as well. So it's kind of crazy how you just assume that we can't figure out how to get a voter ID when it's just getting an effing ID.
When you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No.
I got
Everyone that I know has ID. Why would they think we don't have ID? That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID. So like, we know what we need to carry around.
Yeah, everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with.
Facts.
ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
Bro, even the gangbangers got IDs. Like, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Like, bro, even gangbangers got IDs, bro. Even the criminals have IDs. Like, so the fact that you don't think we can get them is wild. Bro, illegal immigrants are out here getting IDs. So us as legal immigrants can't get them? Really? So you think we're dumber than them? Like, them niggas don't even know English. Like, all right, I'm going too far. I'm sorry.
ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this? Some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is, right here?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Bro, it's real easy. That's what I'm saying. It's like, bro, all hoods have a BMV or DMV literally like 10 minutes away. Like 10 minutes away. Everywhere. Like, that's why they got them out there like that. So everybody can access or have access to a way to get an ID. Oh, wait. We also can do it through online now. Like, you know that? You can do this online. Shoot. You can renew your license online now. So it's kind of crazy how y'all coming out with this stuff.
Have a problem getting there if you have to get
renew registrations, all that. But for some reason, you know, black people just can't get ID.
there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use it.
Oh, and shout out to my man Jay. It just shows the regards Dems hold brown. Yeah, you're right, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. Yeah, Dems hold brown or black brown people too. It is kind of crazy. It's like it really shows us what they think of us. It's like they sit there and try to white knight for us, but really they think we're retards and we can't stick up for ourselves. That's why they got to stick up for us. When that's not true at all. I mean, bro, they literally sold voter ID as racist. Oh, it's racist because black people can't get ID. It's like, and they really believe that. That's the worst part about it. Like, liberals out here really believed it. And I seen somebody in the chat say MAGA does the same. No, they don't. They're the ones trying to hold everybody accountable and make sure everybody has an ID so they can start voting. Start pushing in voter ID. It's the Dems that are fighting this, and this is the argument they're using.
The internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data?
Mm-hmm.
You can access
Unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. I use my phone as a hotspot.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because what was that? That was I think it was Governor Holcomb. That's her name. What is the governor of New York's that lady's name again? But yeah, it was a governor of New York who pretty much said that these guys, I don't know, they don't know how to use a computer. And I'm just like, lady, almost everybody got one of these. I mean, like dead ass. So everybody got like a mini computer in their hand and know how to use it. Actually, I would say people know how to use a cell phone better than they know how to use a laptop or a computer at this point. At this point in time.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of black people?
They're pretty much ignorant. That's my thought process on it.
I just think that's ignorant. Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the word
Very,
I hear
very
a lot.
ignorant.
Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you know, you're putting people in a category and
Hochul.
you have no idea what
Hochul. There it is. That's her name. Governor Hochul. That's the one that said, oh, you know, black people don't know how to use computers and all that good stuff. It's like wild to say that, but it makes sense. I mean, that's what they got to sell people, that black people are just too dumb to go out there and get an ID. They're just too poor. They can't afford the $15 to $20 it is to get your state ID. I guess we're just that broke, guys. It is what it is. Hey, man, guys, make sure you guys super chat into the show so your boy Seth can get that state ID, because apparently, according to the libs, I just can't afford it. I just don't have access to it. And if you guys can just help a brother out, I'll be able to get that voter ID. I am just playing, by the way. But because that is crazy.
you're talking about. about?
Maybe a little bit of race is in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
Judging somebody, like, but you judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Are you
Love
cool?
showing my ID.
You have no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you have to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was
Across
a
the
rule
board.
saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
You cool with that?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't we be cool with that? It's just common sense. It's like, wait, well, all right. I would look at bro and be like, hold on, we're not doing that already? Like, wait, we're not doing that already. Like, then what type of elections are we having if you don't have to provide identification to prove that you're an American citizen or that, like, you have some type of documentation here? What's going on? But it is what it is.
No, they trust him about as much as they.
With me now, CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Enton. He is running the numbers on America's faith in the election system. Harry, do Americans trust Donald Trump when it comes to running the elections?
No, they trust him about as much as they trust him to be modest. I mean, just take a look at these numbers.
No, that shit was all right. Yeah, that was too funny. He's like, Hennessy's being sold and them saying nobody got ID. Like, bruh. Literally, then, I mean, how the hell's the liquor store selling out? I mean, hold on. Like, how the hell's the Newport 100 selling out? Like, obviously people got ID.
Right here. I think this gives the game away. Trump committed to free and fair elections. This is among all adults. What you see is just 43% of Americans actually do believe that Donald Trump is committed to free and fair elections. The clear majority, 56%, say no, 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 no. They do not believe that Donald Trump is committed to free and fair elections. And I will note it is the opposite for the Democratic Party, where you see the majority of Americans believe the Democratic Party is committed to free and fair elections, but they do not trust Donald Trump when it comes to his commitment to free and fair elections.
And maybe perhaps he keeps lying about the 2020 election that he lost. What about how independents are seeing this?
Okay, so you see this majority right here who say that Donald Trump is not committed to free and fair elections. And among independents, it is even worse. Take a look here. This is a group that Donald Trump has really been struggling with. And when it comes to his commitment to free and fair elections, they absolutely believe he is not. We're talking about 2 and 3.
I'm sorry, but let's be real. You guys don't ask for voter ID. And that's been a common practice. So you're telling me it's not weird to think that maybe the 2020 election might have been a bit fraudulent, since there are places that don't act for voter ID. You can just go in there and vote and your vote's counted. Like, it's wrong to sit there and just have a little bit of speculation on that. Okay. Like I said, they think we're dumb, guys.
Independents say, no, Donald Trump is not committed to free and fair elections. We're talking about just a third of independents believe that Donald Trump is committed to free and fair elections. They will view his current comments very negatively. And this, of course, just builds upon their continuing distrust and their deepening distrust of Donald Trump when it comes to his job for the president overall, and specifically to this question when it comes to his commitment to free and fair elections.
If that number doesn't slap you in the face, I don't know what will. But let's look overall. Who do Americans overall trust when it comes to running elections?
You know, there's this whole thing. Donald Trump, of course, wants to take the running of elections from the local communities, the local governments, and bring it up to the national government. But here's the thing. Americans believe that the elections in 2024 that were run in their community were run very well. We're talking about 69% of Americans say that the elections...
Bro, 69% of Americans still don't know that, bro, people didn't have to acquire an ID to vote. Like, yeah, a lot of Americans still don't know to this day that there were people voting that didn't have to show their identification at all whatsoever. And then, I mean, if y'all want to sit there and ignore that, okay, but I'm not.
In fact, in 2024, were run very well in their community. Compare that to just 43% of Americans who say that they were run very well in the United States. This idea that you're going to take local power away and give it to the federal government is a terrible idea per the American people, when just 22% at this point view the federal government favorably, and we have trust levels in the federal government at all-time lows.
What is fascinating about this is that Republicans have...
And bro, you know, they're just fighting over voter ID. It's as simple as that. That's all Trump wants to do, just invoke voter ID. That's it. That's all. And for some reason, they're fighting tooth and nail, trying to make this about racism for some reason. And shout out to, she says, voters in New York City's admitted to voting multiple times. I mean, hey, man, they really want Mandani in there, I guess. Screwed themselves in the end, but we'll see. We'll wait and see how that works out for them. Hopefully, they're not having a Virginia situation where some of them runs on affordability and then gets in and make things more unaffordable. But all right, guys, as we move on to the next segment here, enjoy this clip.
Republicans need to pass the SAVE Act. This bill is Jim Crow 2.0. What? This bill does what 83% of American support and 36 out of 50 states already require, along with most developed nations, which is voter ID. You must already show an ID to buy vodka or go on an airplane or check out a hotel room. With the SAVE Act, you must now show one while voting too. Wow, so spooky. Well, we can argue that later, but the big thing the SAVE Act does is more than just voter ID. It also requires proof of citizenship in order to register to vote, which is more than just a driver's license. Yeah, it's already federal law. You must be a citizen to vote, but right now when you register, you must merely attest to being a citizen, so it's based on your word. You check a box. Yes, but it's a federal crime to lie, perjury, and the states also cross-check DMV and other data to verify. But that cross-checking is inconsistent. The Conservative Heritage Foundation found only 77 cases of non-citizens voting from 1999 to 2023. Well, those were convictions, and there are some reasonable non-conspiratorial concerns about the security of our elections. Let's look at Arizona, for instance. They tried to make proof of citizenship a requirement to register to vote, but the Supreme Court in 2013 ruled against it. Well, yeah, because the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 requires states to use a uniform federal form to register voters for federal elections. Yeah, but the Supreme Court allowed Arizona to require the citizenship proof to vote in state and local elections. So now Arizona, if someone does not provide proof of citizenship but registers to vote and the state is unable to ascertain their citizenship, they are given a federal-only ballot, still allowed to vote in presidential, Senate, and House elections, huh? Well, yeah, because they register through the federal form, and if it's found through data they're not a citizen, it is revoked. But if it's unclear whether or not they're a citizen, they can still vote in federal elections, just not states. And this is just one example. 19 states give driver's license to illegals, and some hand everyone a voter registration form. And again, all these people need to do is check a box that they're a citizen, and you can imagine how the incentive exists for some states to not be all that tough on checking their databases. Again, there's no evidence that this voter fraud is widespread, as states do cross-check, and many undocumented people do not feel the need to risk perjury to vote. Georgia's Secretary of State did an audit into this claim and found 68 undocumented registration attempts per year in a state of 7 million voters. The Brennan Center found the number to be less than 0.0001% nationally, but let's talk about the real issue with requiring citizenship to vote. What's the issue? You merely have to produce a document that proves you're a citizen, whether it's a passport, birth certificate, certain real IDs, etc., to register. Couple issues. First off, studies suggest about 9% or 21.3 million voting age Americans do not have these papers readily available, disproportionately voters of color, younger voters, and married women who changed their names, all voters that typically vote Democrat. Well, married women tend to go more conservative, but look, this bill gives multiple different options of documents for people to prove citizenship. For married women, if they don't have a document that proves citizenship with their real name, they can bring one with their old name along with something like a marriage certificate to show their name change. Oh, great, another hurdle to make it harder for women to vote than men, leading to less female voter turnout, huh? I trust people's ability to gather simple documents. Most of these documents cost money. This is essentially a poll tax, and I'm sorry, making it harder to vote for every single American to tackle an issue with little proof that it exists is insane. You only need to register to vote one time unless you move or something, and most states allow it to be done online. Requiring one extra document to further secure our elections is worth it. The onus goes from the state to need to do the work to verify one's identity to the citizen. In a country where we aim to make voting as universal as possible, this is a clear setback. I think securing our elections is more important than anything else.
And there's the both sides of that argument. And I'm telling you right now, you kind of see where they're kind of just going off the emotion of it and racism and all this wild stuff. Is like, all we're asking is just for some voter ID. Y'all acting like we're trying to change the way we do elections altogether. But hey, they gotta, well, exaggerate it. But all right, guys, let's get back over to Right Side of Media with Hannity.
Now, this is the ultimate goal of the Democratic Party. I think Republicans should embrace this fight. And it comes straight from Chuck Schumer's lips in 2022. Take a listen.
Immigrants make us stronger now more than ever. Now more than ever. We're short of workers. We have a population that is not.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen.
Producing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
Oh, ultimately reward lawbreaking. Thanks for saying it, Chuck. All the hysteria surrounding ICE, it's always been and remains a political ploy to shut down any and all deportations. And the best way to do that, defund ICE, neuter the DHS, and give all illegals citizenship. Take a look.
We must have accountability, and we must bring justice to every fascist in the administration, and that includes Kristi Noem, that includes Stephen Miller, and that includes Tom Homan. ICE will be abolished, DHS will be dismantled, and together we will get it done.
And Mr. Fang Fang himself, Eric Swalwell, who desperately wants to be the next governor of California, well, he's even taking it a step further. He now wants to punish ICE agents and take away their driver's licenses. Oh, what did they do wrong out there? Take a look.
You've also spoken out in wanting to make it difficult, if not impossible, for ICE agents to get jobs at state agencies in California, also for masked officers to lose their driver's licenses. What do you say to those who argue that you're just taking out your frustration with the administration on individual agents?
Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. They're acting like complete children. It's like, hold on. You're mad because they're doing their job that, well, the administration set them out to do. So now you're going to start punishing them, making it hard for them to find funding, to find a job. You're literally trying to do everything in y'all power to keep ICE from doing what they're doing, or to bring fear into the ICE officers to make them stop doing their job because, oh, I don't want my license to be suspended, or, oh, I don't want to be not able to ever work in government again once the Dems come in power. Bro, be real with you. This is coercion. Like, yeah, this is intimidation at the highest. You're trying to intimidate these people not to do their jobs by saying you'll take away their driver's license. They'll never be able to find a job. It's like, are you serious? And the funny thing is, you Dems will literally support this. But if Donald Trump was doing this, y'all be losing y'all shit. I mean, they're literally talking about shutting down DHS funding, even though they can't shut down the funding for ICE. So because they can't shut down the funding for ICE, they're going to make the rest of DHS suffer. It's childish, and you guys are literally accepting it.
And those steps don't necessarily ensure safer communities.
Yeah. Well, if you still work for ICE, that's a decision. And I'm saying, as a governor, I'm going to make a decision that you can't work in the state. I also am calling on every governor, use your emergency powers and take away the driver's licenses of these folks who don't want to wear or don't want to take off their masks.
Are you serious?
That means thousands and thousands of the worst criminals, murderers, rapists, child molesters, drug dealers, cartel members, even known terrorists, they would get to stay in the country. He wants to punish ICE. They're out there bravely arresting those people. And to cap it all off, on Capitol Hill, Jerry Nadler, his rhetoric was even worse.
It's kind of crazy that something that can even come out of his mouth. That man literally said, yeah, we're just going to take away their licenses. I'm like, so you're punishing them for doing their job. You're literally punishing them for upholding immigration law when it's literally in their job title as ICE. So are you serious? And the Dems are just going to sit here and think this is okay. So it's okay to just strip license away from these people when they've broken no law whatsoever. I mean, and it's crazy in these Democrat cities when they're literally release criminals back onto the street. They want to take the licenses of law enforcement. I mean, that's the side y'all want to stand on. All right. And then they wonder how, and they say they're not adding, oil to the flames, or they're not really trying to stoke the flames here, because they are. You don't think this whole rhetoric of, oh, yeah, we should go ahead and take their licenses is going to get people to be like, oh, yeah, let's not even see them as citizens anymore. We don't even see them as law enforcement, because why? They're being punished by the government. They're getting their license stripped away. They're getting their government opportunity stripped away. So I guess they're less than human. This is the atmosphere y'all creating. This is the mindset that y'all creating. And it's funny how nobody on the left is ever going to call them out, because y'all don't hold y'all base accountable. But you sit there and wait until somebody dies and then try to hold ICE accountable or try to hold Trump accountable. It don't work like that. It's rhetoric like his is going to keep on getting you guys hurt or killed.
Good luck.
But what is really the major problem in this country today is the fascism in our streets. The attacks on American citizens by masked hoodlums. If you were attacked by a masked person, you might think you were being kidnapped. You'd be justified in shooting the person to protect yourself. But
Same Democrats, they couldn't stand for the family.
So, and you hear his language, and like I said, I could see a liberal shooting an ICE officer talking about, oh, he was masked. Even though he had the ICE thing right in front of his chest, he had the little ICE thing in his chest, or he had police on there, he had his badge on him. Like, you could see it, you just couldn't see his face. And now they're going to say, oh, well, it's okay to shoot him if he has his mask up. So now you can shoot officers if you can't see their face. You see where this is going?
So Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungaray, elected Democrats, they know the risk of inciting their radical base against federal agents, and yet they continue to gin up that anger and all that hatred. And in the end, if they continue to do this, more people will end up dying and more people injured. To me, they will all have blood on their hands. There is also a real human toll to the ICE agents. More than 180 DHS vehicles have been attacked since Donald Trump was sworn in. That's a year ago. 1,800% increase in assaults, 3,200% increase in assaults by vehicles, 8,000% increase in death threats against federal ICE officers and others. But for Democrats, it's all just a means to an end. They really don't care about the human toll on either side. For them, it's all performative. When's the last time they mentioned the people shot, and killed in Chicago? When did they ever mention all of the people that were murdered and raped and kids that were molested by illegals that Biden, Harris, Mayorkas led into this country? This is a show for their base with an effort to block deportations and ultimately, they think, expand their voting base by offering something of great value, citizenship. As Senator Lindsey Graham points out, the so-called compassion on the left, it is totally fake and phony. Take a look.
Y'all are playing like Biden didn't exist. Y'all won't tell the American people about Laken Riley. It's a one-sided debate. For 4 years, our border was obliterated. They let them come in by the tens of millions, and they want to go back that way. We're not going. So, Mr. President, stick to your guns.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox.
And it's crazy that I actually agree with Lindsey Graham, this crazy bloodthirsty war hawk. But I agree with him in that one. But all right, now let's get over to Kash Patel on Fox News and let's see what this man got to say for himself. Because there's a lot of things this man said that turned out not to be true. Especially when they try to say, oh, well, I don't know about the whole Epstein didn't kill himself. I don't believe that. I don't believe that one bit. When they try to say, oh, nothing to see here, that's all you guys are going to get. He didn't traffic to nobody, and now all these Epstein documents come out. We figure out that's a complete lie. So, Kash Patel, you kind of got some explaining to do. You and Don Bongino, but Bongino done took the coward's way out and ran back to his podcast. So I guess all we got left is Kash.
Is the FBI director Kash Patel. Mr. Director, thanks for being here.
Great to be with you, Brett.
I want to talk about those stats. I want to talk about all of the efforts that you're doing. I'd like to do a lightning round of other topics that we're covering.
Absolutely.
First of all, we just heard that report out of Arizona about Nancy Guthrie. You all are involved in that case. Is that correct?
Yeah. Brett, with any missing persons, what you want to do is what the sheriff said, find them and put all law enforcement on that X. And the sheriff and the state and local authorities are leading that effort, and the FBI has provided all resources requested and will continue to do so.
There was a report today that TMZ received a ransom note. Are you aware of that? Or
the local authorities notified the FBI of it, and we are working with them in any manner they choose. But remember, they're the lead right now, and we have to respect that, but we are there to help them in any way we can, on ransom notes or otherwise.
Yeah, the sheriff got to, we believe she was taken from the home, and you're assisting them in their efforts.
Absolutely. We're on the ground there with them.
Okay, I want to talk to something that raised some eyebrows, and that's the FBI in this Fulton County election case and taking ballots from that office down there. Can you tell us about that? Paint the picture about what that is about?
Absolutely. Look, from the FBI perspective and our partners at DOJ, we did the same thing there we do in any criminal case or investigation. We collected evidence. We presented that evidence to a federal magistrate judge who made a finding of probable cause and said, here's your search warrant. Here are the parameters of that search warrant. And what you saw play out last week was the execution of that search warrant, just like we would do anywhere else. The target of that search warrant was a warehouse down in Fulton County. Federal agents from the FBI went down there and followed the parameters of the search warrant and secured the evidence. And from there, we maintain the chain of custody and do what we always do, which is to follow the evidence.
But the probable cause is that there was a crime in the election tabulation.
So the probable cause is still in the search warrant, which is under seal. So I'm not able to discuss
All right,
that.
but let me talk about this other element of it, and that is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. New York Times writes this: Ms. Gabbard used her cell phone to call President Trump, who did not initially pick up, and then called back shortly after. The president addressed the agents, the FBI agents, on the speakerphone, asking them questions as well as praising and thanking them for their work on the inquiry. One U.S. official said the president gave no substantive direction to the investigators. Unusual for a president to get involved on the agent level.
I mean, it actually does make sense. Well, that is a bit unusual, the first part. But for Tulsi Gabbard to be in there, the Director of National Intelligence, it makes sense. You got to see if there was any type of foreign intelligence that might have been used in this election. And like I said, Trump believes the election was stolen. And usually when elections are stolen, it's usually due to foreign interference. And trust me, we should know.
Paint the picture there.
Sure. The one thing I think that many, if not every FBI agent and personnel and law enforcement across the country love about this president is that he backs them. He backs the blue, he gives them resources, and he's always congratulatory of their efforts. And so to hear from the commander-in-chief for my troops on the ground there was a pretty cool thing. And we were pleased to hear the president come in and say, thank you for what you're doing. That is maybe unusual from prior administrations, but I take it every chance I get to thank the men and women in law enforcement.
And Director Gabbard put out a statement saying that she accompanied the FBI Deputy Director Bailey and the acting special agent down there to oversee this search warrant. But doesn't it suggest that there is some international element to this?
All I can speak to is the FBI and the DOJ. And what we are doing is following the predicate laid out in the search warrant, and we're executing that. And President Trump has assembled a tremendous cabinet, the DNI and everyone else, and we collect information from our interagency when the investigation follows that path. And so we're happy to have a team of professionals involved.
Bouncing around, the Epstein files, the last tranche, we're told, put out. Looking back since the beginning, and you've been a part of talking about this, and DOJ has obviously produced these elements. Do you have regrets about how it's been handled?
Look, like any other hot topic issue, the American public and the world had a great interest in this. And what we did under President Trump's leadership is produce the most transparent DOJ and FBI in history. 3 other administrations had the opportunity to do this, and we produced everything we legally and lawfully could. We worked with our partners in Congress, we followed the statutes and the court orders, and we produced, 3 million some pages. So I think we got to the result in the right way. Could we have gotten there faster? I'm not really sure because of numerous court cases, multiple.
I mean, look, like when you guys released them, you're saying, oh, we'll make sure we do our due diligence, crossing our T's, dotting our I's. And then you guys give us sloppy work. Well, that's why the term Fed slop has started taking over, because it was complete Fed slop. I mean, you would redact the name here and then unredact the name in certain parts. You had to take some pages off just to properly redact them. I mean, it was sloppy. And the worst part about it is, I mean, we had to wait on this. You guys missed the deadline. We have to wait 2-3 weeks out now for the files. And it seems like you guys are still making edits. So, I mean, what was y'all doing that entire month from when the Epstein Transparency Act was signed?
Protective orders, multiple court
the whole month.
And so now we've produced everything we can while protecting victims' rights and
Do you think that it gets to some place? Does it get to some kind of charges that we don't yet know about?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. This FBI, as we'll talk about shortly, has done a record year in protecting and going after those that prey on children and sex traffic. And we have always said, as the Attorney General has always said, if there's any facts or any information about an ongoing matter, please let us know. We will fully investigate it. But I want to remind your audience, the materials that were released were from search warrants from 2007, 8, and earlier. And they were strictly confined to certain parameters by those that ran the investigation then. So that's what was collected. We, and not just my FBI, 3 other FBIs have looked into that material to see if there's any leads, to produce any investigatory leads, to prosecute anyone. And we have exhausted that, but we are always open to new information based on the release.
You told me when we last talked, this is 8 months ago when we did an interview at the FBI in Quantico, that you were convinced that Epstein killed himself in jail. Today, 8 months after that, are you?
Oh God, do not forget to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Got over about 400 y'all in here. Appreciate the support.
Still convinced?
Yes.
100%.
Yes, sir.
Let me bring you to Minnesota. There's the fallout from Minnesota, everything that's being looked at. It's obviously not in your department, but you commented on this about the firearm aspect of this in protest. Take a listen.
You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence.
So that got some response.
Sure.
U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Janine Pirro, said this over the weekend.
You bring a gun into the district, you mark my words, you're going to jail. I don't care if you have a license in another district, and I don't care if you're a law-abiding gun owner somewhere else. You bring a gun into this district, count on going to jail, and hope you get the gun back.
Some people are concerned about something I said yesterday, so I want to be crystal clear.
Okay.
I am a proud supporter of the Second Amendment.
So all these gun rights advocates and supporters are saying, wait a second, what are you guys telecasting here?
Well, I'm glad you played the entirety of the clip because mostly nobody did that.
Exactly.
I said you cannot bring a firearm to a public protest and incite violence. That's the kicker. President Trump's administration is the most pro-Second Amendment administration in history. All we are saying is, one, it's a question of law. Did you incite violence or commit another crime while in possession of a firearm? And if that's the case, then we're going to investigate you. But the other question is a prudential one. Should you be bringing firearms? That's not a decision for the FBI to places where people are protesting.
Now, when it comes to Alex Preddy, I said that he should let the officer know that he was armed, and he should have actually went to go help the lady instead of getting directly in front of the officer while armed and not letting that officer know that he has a gun on his person. That's where he effed up at. I'm be real with you. I don't think that it's kind of fair for him to say, oh, well, you just can't have a gun during a protest. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can. But the problem is you just can't walk up to an officer armed, concealed, and you don't let him know. And here's the worst part about it. You're getting in the way of that officer, putting your hands on him, trying to stop him from getting in the way, getting to this lady that he might have been trying to arrest. And you got in his way armed. And he don't know that you're armed. He had to find out. Yeah, that's not going to be a good situation for anybody. Well, a good situation for anybody to put themselves in.
That's a prudential decision. We will follow the facts and the law.
Okay, two more quick things. The Charlie Kirk shooter, the trial is ongoing. They're starting the process. It's going slowly. Even the widow, Erica Kirk, has been upset about that speed. Are you convinced, seeing what you've seen, that this one shooter is the one guy?
Well, I got to be careful on comment on the evidence. As you know, it's a state court proceeding. It's a state murder charge. And as you know, you've covered this longer than everybody else. Those take a long time, if not years, to adjudicate a murder case. And that's what's going on. My job at the FBI is to ensure that they have the evidence that they need from my agents that were on the ground that collected it. And we provided it to them. And we will continue to work with them and take our direction from the state prosecutors. At the end of the day, Charlie was my friend, a dear, dear friend. The worst thing that could happen is we somehow taint the evidence of the jury pool by making a statement or commenting and stylizing the evidence, and that ends up in a mistrial or even an acquittal. So what I'm guarding against is that, and we will continue to provide support.
All right, well, let me take you to a different shooter, and that is the Butler shooter. I asked you about this at Quantico. Take a listen. Will we know a lot more about him? Is there more to know?
I don't know that there's more to know, but you're going to know everything we know. And we don't feel that the American people have been given the information they need on that. And we're digging through the files and we're getting them a more robust picture of what happened.
So that was May 2025. I mean, I don't think we, the public, have a more robust picture of that shooter.
Well, I think that's an unfair supposition. We, the FBI, have put out all the information that we possibly and legally can while protecting any ongoing matters that are unrelated.
But he's
bro, I learned more about the shooter from the Tucker Carlson documentary on Thomas Crooks than the FBI. That's what's blowing my mind. It's like I've learned more from independent journalists, independent journalists than the FBI about Thomas Crooks. And I played the video here on stream. I mean, y'all can go. Hopefully, I wonder if I clipped it. All right, I'll see if I can go back and find the clip of it. But I've already showed that video, and yeah, it kind of irritated me that I couldn't get this information from the FBI. They never talked about it, did no press conference on it. I'm here watching Tucker Carlson give better coverage than the FBI on Thomas Crooks.
Yes, he's very much dead. But at the same time, Brett, we at the FBI have to follow the parameters of our investigation and what the law allows us to release.
I get it, but what were the cell phones? Why don't we know who he was talking to? What exactly happened? I feel like we haven't gotten the whole picture about Butler even now.
But here's the thing, Brett. We can provide, and just an example here. We've provided 40,000 pages of documents to Congress. That's a
well, guys, let's make sure you double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreement, you can send $2 and up. I'll go ahead and read it out loud and engage with it. Appreciate the support. And if you want to double your support for the call-in line, you can go ahead and hit the QR code above and go ahead and hit the Venmo. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's get back to it.
100% increase from the prior two directors. We will continue to provide this information with our partners on Capitol Hill when we are legally able. It's never going to be enough for everyone. It's never going to be enough. But what we are saying is we're not saying trust us. We're saying we did an exhaustive search of that. We presented that information to the Department of Justice, and a decision was made on what to release.
Yeah, but okay. You said we put out everything we could. Do you think that everything's been put out about Eric?
Bro, even Brett Baer is like, bro, I feel like I'm getting bullshitted. It's like, bro, what? Like, no, I get what you're saying, but you really didn't do much, to be quite honest with you. Like, he did not do much when it came to Thomas Crooks. Maybe I'm tripping here.
Justice, and a decision was made on what to release.
What to release?
But, okay.
A decision was made on what to release, letting us know that there's certain information that you guys decided not to release. I don't know, may have opened up some, I don't know, like revelation to what was really behind the motive behind Trump's attempted assassination attempt. Like, I'm just saying, like, you could have, like, you're pretty much telling us that there's stuff that you're hiding. So what? Now we got to beg for the Thomas Crook files now, just like we had to do with the Epstein.
We put out everything we could. Do you think that everything's been put out about Eric Crumps, the alleged shooter?
Everything, whether it's Epstein or Charlie Kirk, or whether it's this shooter in Butler, we always put out what the law permits us to put out.
Last thing, this has happened this weekend. In Las Vegas, law enforcement, including the FBI, removed more than 1,000 suspected biological agents from a house linked to the man accused of operating an underground biolab in California several years ago. That man has been locked up ever since, awaiting trial in April. So if that Chinese national has been behind bars for the past 3 years, how is it just now authorities are raiding this Las Vegas house?
Well, I think that's a great question. What this FBI did was went back and looked at a report that my predecessor went to Capitol Hill and said there's no connection to China. I found that unbelievable or implausible. So that is a state-run investigation right now in the state of Nevada. And where the FBI comes in is to say, wait a second, we have information that we believe disputes the prior testimony of Director Wray. And so we went back to our law enforcement partners and say, hey, we got to look at this again. And that's why you're seeing these state warrants executed. And that's why you're seeing these seizures. And the FBI is collecting that evidence and taking it to our labs for further analysis.
It was announced that one man, a property manager, was charged with some minor local offenses. Wouldn't keeping 1,000 biological agents in a house be a federal offense?
Well, that's just the thing, right? This state warrant was just executed within the last 48 hours, right? What we have to do is take these 1,000 samples, ship them across the country, which we did overnight, and have our lab analyze them. And once we have those results, then we can produce further charges.
Obviously, people look at that and say, is the CCP operating other biolabs in our country?
And look at what this FBI has done. We arrested 3 researchers at the University of Michigan with ties to the CCP for bringing in biologicals and for trying to harm our agricultural seed industry. That is the priority here to protecting our nation's not just secrets, but our agriculture and our.
But the wild part is, though, that we had this guy in jail for 3 years and we didn't, break into his little bio laboratory till now. Like, yeah, that's a bit concerning. I mean, and then here's the thing. You're telling me the ex-FBI looked into this, said, you know what, man, there's no Chinese, there's no Chinese connection. Then we go in there and we arrest a guy who's connected to China. It's like, bro, what the hell was that boy Comey doing?
And our citizens' health.
The year-end stats, 20% decrease in nationwide murder rate, 100% increase in arrests year over year, 31% increase in kilograms of fentanyl seized, 210% increase in gangs and criminal enterprises disrupted.
I mean, that is the historic year in the 117 years of the FBI's history. If you took just one of those stats and accomplished it in 1 year, it would be a monumental feat. And that is a commitment from President Trump to back law enforcement. What we did, we put 1,000 agents into the field last year. We're going to send 1,000 more employees to the field permanently this year so they can get after it for the American people. I mean, just think about what's in those numbers. 20% less murders. Just think about that. We have a 500% increase in those predators online that prey upon our children. We've seized enough fentanyl to kill 140 million Americans. That's just the FBI alone. And as you said, we have doubled the number of violent offender arrests in 1 year under President Trump. And that is just the beginning of it.
Well, Mr. Director, we appreciate the time. It's there's a lot to talk about, and we always welcome you back when you can provide interesting things. We follow these investigations, and sometimes there's a frustration that we just don't get to the end of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to keep asking those questions.
I appreciate the inquiry, and always good to be with you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
He ain't wrong about that. He's like, man, I feel like we're just like, look, we follow this, we bring you in, and it feels like we don't really get too much answers ever. So I feel him on that one. It's like, yeah, I'd be pretty pissed too. But let's see here. Chris, now just made your border wall update. All right, well, let's go over here to our guy, Scott Bessent, because, yeah, he had to go ahead and testify in front of the the Financial Committee. Let's see how that worked out for my boy, Scott Bessent. Probably the best performer in the Trump administration. Scott Bessent classes with Democrat after Democrat. Oh, really? All right, let's hear it. Whoops. Let me go to the right one here. There it is.
As the ranking member of our committee, Mrs. Waters of California, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you very much. Secretary Bessent, in the S.E.T annual report, you stressed the importance of economic growth to promote financial stability. While you noted many ways you plan to deregulate Wall Street and plant the seeds for another crisis, you said little about the harms of inflation. I find this odd as the president and you have finally began discussing in the media how the price of goods are way too high. Notably, you mentioned that tariffs may need to come down to lower costs for Americans. So I have a few questions about this. As a former hedge fund manager in 2004, and I don't want you to go into any long details about this, but did you write a letter to investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs, writing that, quote, tariffs are inflationary? Did you say that at that time, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that you
New York
said that.
Times.
Then last summer, when you testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, there is no inflation. Tariffs are not being passed on to consumers. You were quite definitive and even claimed that critics had, quote, tariff derangement syndrome. Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again,
now, she's going off of something that he literally said he never said, by the way. He just literally said, I never said that. Well, according to the New York Times, so you're going off the New York Times when this man literally just said word for word, like, yo, I never said that. But she's going to pretend like he said that. And have tariff been inflationary? No, actually, when you look at the consumer price index, it doesn't reflect an increase in pricing due to tariffs. It reflects an increase in prices due to the slight inflation that we still have. So, yeah, and let's be real. If it was due to tariffs, then we would see a price increase of at least 10% across the board. But we're not seeing that. And if anything, prices in certain sectors are actually going down, especially when it comes to oil. So, I mean, where is the inflation due to tariffs? Not to be seen.
I want to be clear. So just let me.
And really, I mean, you could go look at the consumer price index and you could please show me where you see the increase due to tariffs, because it's not there.
Are tariffs inflationary? Yes or no?
According to the San Francisco Federal Reserve, with 150 years of data,
yes or no?
Tariffs do not cause inflation.
Yeah, they don't.
San Francisco Federal Reserve.
Well, last November, as the Trump administration finally began to realize that affordability issues in America are not.
Because, like, one, tariffs don't cause inflation. to protect domestic industry and to promote buying inside of America. Once again, protecting our domestic industries. Like the fact that they want to say, oh, it's a direct tax to the honestly direct tax to the customer. That's a complete lie. I mean, they don't even honestly recognize that one, the supplier could eat the tariffs if they're desperate to maintain business with the importer. The supplier and the importer could eat the tariff by the supplier reducing their price and the importer taking it to either their profit margin or their overhead costs, to where it never gets passed down to the consumer. And if they're in a highly saturated market or a high competition market, they're less likely to raise their prices because they could lose out on market capital. It's about as simple as that. So to sit there and say that tariffs is just a direct tax on the consumer is complete ignorance.
Not a hoax. You told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't inflationary, and as you and the president
now, actually, you see, and this is where she misread it. Think about it like this. If they bring down the price of tariffs, that means these guys can afford to buy more bananas, thus adding to the supply of bananas that they buy, thus bringing down the price due to the amount that they're able to buy. I mean, it doesn't mean that the price increased because of tariff. It just means that now the price can decrease because now the farmer is able to, or the importer is now able to buy more bananas because he can pay less in tariffs. It's about as simple as that. So it doesn't just have to be, oh, well, doesn't that mean that tariffs are inflationary? No, it means that because they have to spend less in tariffs, they can buy more supply or buy more bananas, thus being able to bring down their prices because they have more what? Supply. And when supply goes up, price goes what? Down.
To save or paid for by foreign countries, by the foreign country. A tariff on coffee or bananas shouldn't raise the price of either for American consumers. Well, that's the Trump logic, but that isn't reality. It did raise prices across the board. And you know what? I think you knew back in July also. Okay. The real question is, why would you even impose a tariff on
across the board? So when oil went down from what, a $3 national price, and we're at like what, 260. Is that what was that? Like when you said across the board, eggs went from like what, damn near $8 to $3.99. I mean, you said across the board, right? Like you could even look at Kroger's, Walmart data, and it'll show you that even grocery prices in certain areas went down. So when you say across the board, that's a complete lie.
Good that a country doesn't grow or make, as that would only serve to punish the American consumer. Now, as you know, this committee has taken a bipartisan approach to addressing another real affordability crisis. Housing. Rents are too high. There aren't enough houses. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel as well.
Yeah, and what happened because of that? We are now we now surpass Japan in steel production because people are buying more steel, American steel, than Chinese steel because of the 55% tariff. Like, lady, are you slow? It's to protect our domestic industry. That's why we put the 55% tariff on steel and aluminum, to boost the production of our steel in America, to make it unaffordable to go outside and buy steel. This is like the whole reason we did it. So if you're sitting there complaining about, oh, how Chinese steel got more expensive, that was the whole freaking point. And now we're producing more steel than Japan. So that was a success on Trump's part.
As appliances, these tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a 5-year.
Yes, and now we're looking towards American suppliers for lumber. So they're pretty much complaining because, oh, well, foreign lumber prices went high, and what, all we buy is foreign lumber? That's all we got access to? No, we have our own lumber we have access to. We got our own steel we got access to, and aluminum. So you sitting there crying about, oh, well, now Chinese steel is more expensive, Canadian lumber is more expensive. That's what we did it for, to promote domestic industry. I'm sorry if you guys want to sell out to foreign interests, but that's not us. That's y'all guys' game. You guys want to gut out the middle class. We want to build it up.
Low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Then let's just have the facts, ma'am.
Reclaiming my time. Thank you. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has gone worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as I said, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in 500,000 fewer homes built at a time when we need more homes built, not less. Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive. And once
I mean, we did get mortgage down to a 3-year low. I mean, more houses actually are being built. And guess what? They're being built with American steel, which is actually helping the American steel workers. But they'll ignore all that, though. Like, as if you don't, like, bro, I'm sorry, but do y'all need to pick up an economics book and actually look up the history of tariffs. It's always been used for this, to promote domestic industry. So the fact that she's literally complaining about how tariff has always worked is hilarious. To let you know that she probably never even heard the word tariff until it came out Trump's mouth.
Again, you know it, as Axios has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol, terrorizing American communities, has also harmed home construction across America. So I ask you, Secretary Benson, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing?
I'm sorry. Wow. Can you stop waging war on American businesses? Can you stop allowing foreigners to take all of our business and then raising taxes on our domestic industries to get them to go to the foreign places? Like, can y'all stop waging war against our American businessmen? Can you stop doing that, please? Because, I mean, if you make these guys leave, then what jobs, bro? Then what jobs? Because that's literally what, like, she literally explained the benefit of tariff is like, oh, yeah, well, tariffs on steel and aluminum and lumber. Yeah, we did that so we can boost our domestic product, to boost our domestic production of steel and lumber. So we don't have to rely on these guys. And we give money or circulate money within our own economy instead of sending it overseas to China to get watered down steel.
For affordability and putting the economy at risk. Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative
Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice of reason? Will you be the voice of reason?
A study
Yes or
from
no?
Northern
Reclaiming my
University has
time.
shown
Reclaiming
the
my
big-
time.
the biggest reason
Reclaiming
the
my
housing
time.
was the mass
Reclaiming my time.
unfettered immigration.
Mr. Chair, will
You let
you
in
let him know
10
that
and
when I
20
ask
million
for time
immigrants,
to
Time does
took
belong
up
to
the
the
housing
gentlewoman
stock.
from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
Can you
took
shut
up the
him up?
housing stock
Whoa,
of working 20
And I
20
asked
million
for time
immigrants.
to
Time does
took
belong
up
to
the
the
housing
gentlewoman
stock.
from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
Can you
took
shut
up the
him up?
housing stock
Whoa,
of working Americans. And can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time is
Damn. Okay. Yo. You know what? Maxine Water do not like Scott Bessence because Scott Bessence made like Maxine Water look stupid multiple times. That's why she's trying to monologue this man to death and not let him get a word in. Because every time Scott Bessence got a word in, he low-key embarrassed Maxine Water every single time. So I see why she's playing this game with him. Like, can you shut up? He's like, man, can you show some dignity? Like, well, damn. The beef is real.
expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the gentleman.
The gentleman took up my time.
What?
I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman's time has
Well,
expired.
if you want to,
parliamentary the chair recognizes the vice chairman of the committee, Mr.
if you want to
Parliamentary inquiry.
go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
I'm freaking crying, bro. Nah, she did not have to get that unprofessional, but it is what it is, I guess. Like, dang, she was not trying to let that go, guys. Obviously, she had a bone to pick with my man, Scott Bessent.
Bureau, the very agency that returned $21 billion to Americans after they were ripped off. In fact, Trump's team has dismissed enforcement actions against predatory firms,
Here it is.
even after they admitted to defrauding consumers. Why? Could it be because they gave to Trump's campaign or brought his crypto coins? Or could it be this president is not on the side of the American consumer and never has been? It does not.
I mean, I would say he's more, bro. You guys let gas get to $5, basically $6 across America. And you wouldn't say that he's not for the American consumer. He lowered gas prices. I mean, what did y'all do? Eggs was at an all-time high. Y'all cried about it. He lowered it. What did you guys do? Y'all ran the most unaffordable administration in American history with such high inflation. I'm sorry, but who are you guys to make that statement?
Up there. Right now, Trump's Justice Department is conducting a baseless criminal investigation into Jerome Powell to bully the Federal Reserve. So they serve Trump's agenda instead of the American people. Since Trump returned to office,
and shout out to my man Jet. He says, I love Besant is unaffected by the Dems BS. Literally, bro just sits there and smiles. That's all he does. He just sits there and smiles because of how stupid these guys sound sometimes. And when it comes to Besant, bro, they do get real. I don't know why. Like they lose IQ points every time Besant steps up there because Besant proves that they don't know shit about economics. And it's a kind of a shame that they're on their financial service committee. It's like, this is our financial service committee, a lady who does not understand like how she just sat there, like told us that yes, the tariffs are doing exactly what they're doing and framed it as a bad thing. I'm like, are you serious? Like, lady, did you not go to economics? Like at least the first two classes of micro and macro, that's all you have to do to understand tariffs. I mean, it's not too late. You can still pick up a book today.
Republicans have looked the other way while consumer protections were gutted. Instead of offering solutions to help families, they have protected corporate profits. Under this administration, billionaires are winning and hardworking Americans are losing. We've seen this movie before. The same blind loyalty and deregulation led directly.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get 100 likes. So I need about 27 of y'all to double tap that screen.
To the 2008 financial crisis, when millions of Americans lost their jobs, their homes, and their savings, all while Wall Street walked away with bonuses. Despite repeated demands from Democrats for accountability, Republicans have refused to bring other key administration officials before Congress. That includes CFPB Acting Director Russell Vought, who must be held accountable for dismantling the CFPB. This includes FHA Director.
Should be all right.
I'd like to thank them for their hard work and dedication in advancing the president's bold vision for a better America. Since day one, President Trump has focused on building parallel prosperity. And
let's get back to
the housing crisis has gone worse. Is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as I said, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in 500,000 fewer homes built at a time when we need more homes built, not less. Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive. And once again, you know it. As
Whoa. I missed that part. She said Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive. What did you guys do with all the illegal immigrants? That was y'all. When you put all these regulations and high taxes on the cement and lumber companies, making it cheaper to buy lumber outside, that was you guys who made housing more unaffordable. That was you guys who raised the housing price. And you guys who made the mortgage more unaffordable. That was all you guys. You guys with the crazy inflation, which raised the goods of materials to build housing. Did you forget that? It was inflation happened across the board, lady. So sit there and say Trump single-handedly? Only being a year in, as if the housing crisis or as if the housing price crisis hasn't been a thing for the past, 5 years. Like, are you serious?
Has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol, terrorizing American communities, has also harmed home construction.
Hey, shout out to my man Josh Jones for the high five for 100 joules. Appreciate the support. Shout out to my man Gaming. He says, what is your Venmo name? Trying to send you the money. Shoot, just scan the QR code and you should be able to get it right there, my brother.
across America. So I ask you, Secretary Benson, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing or for affordability and putting the economy at risk? Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative
Will
Waters,
you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice of reason? Will you be the voice of reason?
A study
Yes or
from
no?
Wharton University
Reclaiming my
has
time.
shown
Reclaiming my
the
time.
biggest reason for the
Reclaiming
housing
my
increase
time.
was the mass
Reclaiming my time.
unfettered immigration.
Mr. Chair, will you
let
let
in
him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The biggest increase in housing price was the fact that we brought in a whole bunch of immigrants, asylum seekers, illegals, TPS recipients. That's what raised the housing prices. The fact that you made American citizens have to compete with housing with these guys. And sometimes these illegals would just take the housing. They don't, bro, they just break into it and take it. That's what was going on in Chicago with the Venezuelans. So please spare us with that BS.
No,
10
that
and
when I
20
asked
million
you
immigrants
Time does
took
belong
up
to
the
the
housing
gentlewoman
stock.
from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
Can you
took
shut
up the
him up?
housing stock of working Americans. And can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Yes,
Your
it
time
has.
has expired. And the
The
gentleman,
gentleman took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
No.
the gentlewoman's
took
time
up
has
my time.
expired. The gentlewoman's time has
Well,
expired.
if you want to,
Parliamentary
if you want to
chair,
protect him,
the chair
Mr.
recognizes the vice chairman of the
Mr.
committee,
Chair.
Mr.
if you
Heisinger.
want to
Parliamentary inquiry.
go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will grant very briefly anytime that you feel like you need to address anything.
Again, I think the ranking member does not understand.
Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry, the gentleman will suspend. There's a parliamentary inquiry. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Chair, will you enforce the rules of this committee so that the time belongs to the questioner and prevent filibusters from taking time away? And if those filibusters by the witness do take time away, will you
Okay, so let's be honest. This is want to lecture this man, Scott Bessens. I'm gonna be real with you. They don't even want to hear his response. They just want to lecture him and answer and give him yes or no questions that aren't really yes or no questions, to be real with you.
allocate additional time?
I will enforce the 5-minute rule. The
I
gentleman
want my time back.
The gentleman from Michigan is recognized.
No, you're cooked.
I grant briefly anything that you need to feel you need to address.
I believe the ranking member does not understand the definition of generalized inflation versus one-time price increases. I would also note that housing, especially for working Americans, a Wharton study has shown that the mass unfettered immigration, adding 10 to 20 million new people demanding housing, Congresswoman, is what caused a great deal of housing inflation for working Americans. So you and the Biden administration should be ashamed.
Which is also why we are seeing rents. There was just a recent media story on this. Rents are going down partially because of that enforcement. So Mr. Secretary.
Yes, it is supply and demand continues to work.
I've got a number of issues I got to hit very briefly here on FSOC. I need to talk then Burma and 3%. You talked about with the chairman about regulators using tailored market approach tools. How are you ensuring that FSOC's current work continues to prioritize activity-based, transparent, analytically rigorous approach grounded in cost-benefit analysis and coordination with functional regulators when evaluating potential risks in non-bank financial markets?
That is done primarily for small banks through the Office of the Controller of the Currency and the FDIC. And those chairs are intent on tailoring the rules for small banks so that we do not have another 50% decrease in Main Street lending.
All right, thank you. You outlined as part of the 4 goals, protecting, number 2 was protecting from cyber attacks. We have seen a rise in those cyber attacks and scam centers in Burma. And I applaud you and Treasury for some of your work in that, including sanctioning North Korean individuals, selling weapons to the Burmese military regime, as well as the Democratic Korean.
No,
I yield back. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from California, our ranking member of our Capital Markets Subcommittee. Mr. Sherman, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
I want to agree with the gentleman from Michigan that we need to impose those sanctions on the Myanmar regime and protect, of course, the Rohingya minority to the extent we can. FSOC has to define what is systemic. I, for one, think that we shouldn't be focusing on the assets, but rather the liabilities. We didn't have a problem in 2008 because the banks had too many assets. We had a problem because they had too many liabilities. So I don't see how most...
Congressman, that's incorrect. Ben Bernanke, then Fed chair, said, could you please tell me what these assets are?
I'm going to reclaim my time. Regardless of that, I'm going to ask you whether you...
AKA, regardless of the facts.
I'm not going to ask you to agree with me. I'm going to ask you to agree with your predecessor, Secretary Mnuchin. During the first Trump administration, that Secretary Mnuchin promulgated interpretive guidance that prioritized an activities-based approach to systemic risk regulation over an entity approach. Secretary Benson, you have indicated that you want to kick off a review of FSOC's activities and processes. The FSOC Improvement Act, led by my colleague, Dr. Foster, which I've co-sponsored, as you know, would codify an activities-based approach to systemic risk regulation. Does the FSOC plan to revert to the 2019 guidance of the first Trump administration regarding a definition of a SIFI?
Yes, we prefer an activities-based approach rather than an institutional-based approach.
Thank you. I want to pick up on the ranking member's comments about whether tariffs cause inflation. You know, economists can say when the price of something goes up by 20%, that isn't inflation. It's a one-time price increase. But out in my district, when the price of something goes up by 20%, we call that unaffordability. And to say it's not inflation is sophistry. I'll point out that every time Democrats had and regulations that increased a company's
Well, yeah, bro. If you don't know the difference between inflation, it's a constant price increase, like we were dealing with under Biden. It seemed like almost every week, every month, things are getting more and more expensive. With a one-time price adjustment, it's just that one time the price is going to go up, or the one time the price is going to go down, and that's it. That's it. There is no continuous price increase going into the next month. It's just that one-time price increase or price decrease. So it's that one-time adjustment. That's a huge difference between the continuous price increase of inflation.
Cost. People in this room said that's going to cause inflation. Well,
but I get it though. I mean, you're right. He is somewhat right though. If there is a 20% increase on a product that people are already having problem buying at that level before the 20% increase, it does lead to unaffordability. But that isn't inflation. That is a one-time price increase that did that, and not a continuous like price increasing of inflation. Like, so there are two different things. But I feel him on the whole, oh, well, you know, if it goes up 20%, that's unaffordability. I mean, you're not wrong, but a bit disingenuous with your argument.
Clearly have to be paid by companies. And if environmental costs are passed through, you can be sure tariffs are passed through. The ranking member asked the question, why a tariff on coffee?
Bro, I'm be real with you. Then any tax on anything we do could be passed through. I mean, we could put we could raise the corporate tax, and that could be passed down to us. We could increase the tax on all these billionaires and millionaires, and that could be passed down to us. So basically saying any type of tax on the rich can honestly be passed down to us. And I mean, you guys should never be wanting any type of taxes on the rich at all then, because it could all be passed down to us. So what's your argument here? So you're saying we can't tax the rich without no consequences whatsoever, without it turning back on us? All right, great. Keep that same. Why don't you have that same energy with Kamala Harris when she wanted to raise the corporate tax? Why didn't y'all say, oh, no, that's going to get passed down to the consumer? You didn't say that. You said, oh, no, she was taxing the rich. So I'm sorry, but what's the difference? There isn't.
Bananas. I think the answer is obvious: to make our tax system more regressive. To pay for the big, bad, beautiful bills, cuts in taxes for billionaires, and to fund ICE. I used to head this largest sales tax agency in this country, and we knew the sales tax was regressive, but we knew it would be even more regressive if we imposed sales taxes on food. And that is what you do with a tariff on bananas and coffee. Mr. Secretary, we lived through the bailouts of 2008 when powerful men lose money. They now want a government bailout. Does the Treasury Department or the various components of the FMOC have the authority to bail out Bitcoin?
No.
Could you please elaborate? What exactly does bail out Bitcoin
Okay,
mean?
could you?
Because that is a wild statement. Can we bail out Bitcoin? I mean, I'm sorry, that is a wild ass statement to make. Like, can we bail out Bitcoin? Did you forget? Bitcoin's not a bank, bro. I mean, can you bail out a currency? I mean, sure, but like Bitcoin is not a bank. If you're saying that we could bail out Bitcoin, I mean, no, bro. If you're trying to relate bailing out Bitcoin, let's be real. Bitcoin is its own thing. It's decentralized at this point. Well, it still is. Thank God it still is. So it's kind of crazy how you're saying, well, can we bail out Bitcoin? No, actually, no, we can't. No, it's kind of impossible to in a way because they're not a bank. We can't give them the same bailouts that we did the bankers, which we shouldn't even have did in the first place. I agree with him on that. But to sit there and say, what, can we bail out Bitcoin? I mean, no. I mean, unless you want to everybody to highly invest in Bitcoin, sure, but can't really consider that a bailout. It'd just be a high investment.
To instruct the banks of this country to buy more Bitcoin or change banking regulations so that they are encouraged to do so in terms of the reserves that they're otherwise required to have.
Again, that within the context of asset diversification within banks, they could hold many assets.
They can, and there are different, but do you have the authority to order banks to buy Bitcoin or to invest U.S. tax dollars in Bitcoin or Trump coin?
I am Secretary of the Treasury. I do not have the authority to do that. And as chair of FSOC, I do not have that authority.
So we're not going to see our tax dollars invested in crypto assets.
Well, why would a private bank be your tax dollars, Congressman?
Excuse me, I'm now asking about the money of our taxpayers, which you manage as Secretary of the Treasury. Is it going to be deployed into crypto assets?
We are retaining seized Bitcoin.
That's not exactly taxpayer money. You collect a lot of taxes this month.
No, that is an asset of the U.S.
It's an asset of the U.S.
It was government.
And are you going to invest?
And I will point out,
Mr. Secretary, reclaiming my time. Are you going to invest?
The asset seizure, that $1 billion of Bitcoin was seized, 500 million was retained, and that 500 million has become over 15 billion.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Oh, damn.
The gentleman from Oklahoma, the chair of our monetary policy.
That's just off the Bitcoin we took.
Task Force, Mr. Lucas, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary, for being here today. You've said that the current deposit insurance framework is a vulnerability for the banking system, that there is a competitive imbalance that favors large banks, and that this increases the risk of bank runs and erodes depositor confidence. Can you talk more about a targeted expansion of deposit insurance for non-interest-bearing transaction accounts, and would that strengthen financial stability within the system?
Congressman, thank you for that very important question, because it is my belief, because there is the belief that big banks, the depositors will not.
Shout out to my man
Gaming.
Gaming. And shout out to my man Gaming for the baller alert. He says, open up the lines, and I got you, brother. With a $40 Venmo, he hits us with open up the lines. And like I said, anything you send to the Venmo is doubled. So he basically sent 80. So I got you, my friend. Let me go ahead and get that call-in line out there. Shout out to my man. Oh, and shout out to Gaming. Well, not Gaming, but well, shout out to Gaming, but shout out to Jet as well. He says, Timu Mr. Clean is weapons grade retard. I mean, God damn. Or Mr. Clean's granddad.
Financial crisis, as we saw in 2023, assets leave small banks. And much of that is what is known as the payroll account. So I think it is very important for small banks to have one non-interest-bearing account that can have a much higher level of insurance so that they are able to retain deposits during a stress period. This is one of the reasons that we have seen assets leave small banks, is one of the reasons that we have seen 50% of small banks disappear.
Continue along this line of inquiry, Mr. Secretary. A robust banking system with healthy banks of all sizes.
For the financial well-being of the American people who are invested in money market funds, in bond funds, in their retirement funds, they have stayed right in the center line.
Sorry, guys. If I skip around, it's because I'm skipping to the guys who are actually going to give them some pushback.
We're at a 5-year low in bond market volatility.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, ranking member of our Foreign Affairs Committee. Mr. Meeks, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Bassett, if I'm not mistaken, you were working in the financial service industry during the late 1980s, correct?
I was.
Thank you. And well, I'm wondering, do you recall or you're knowledgeable of the Keating 5 scandal back then?
Yes, sir. And I will point out that I was.
I don't want to.
No. I will point out that
limited time. I have limited time.
I identified.
The gentleman is from, Mr. Secretary, it's the gentleman from New York's time.
So I just want to make sure that everyone knows who doesn't know that the Keating 5 scandal involved 5 U.S. senators accused of pressuring the Federal Home Loan Bank Board to expedite and give more consideration to the case of Charles Keating Jr., who ran the California-based Lincoln Savings and Loans. It led to a 14-month investigation unveiling how 5 U.S. senators and staff ended up with more than $1 million in contributions, 4 trips to the Bahamas, and all expenses paid stays at resort hotels.
Damn.
Following the scandal, the industry saw sweeping regulatory changes that was launched by then President George H.W. Bush. Now, Mr. Secretary, I'm sure you can agree conflicts of interest and improper influence by U.S. elected officials over bank regulators weaken supervisory independence and ultimately impose massive losses on consumers and taxpayers. I think that we can all agree upon that. And as we know, the basic lessons from the post-Keating reforms still applies today when the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, the OCC, is deciding to get a bank charter. I think we can stimulate that. Right. Now, Mr. Bassett, as our nation's treasurer, I'm sure you also know that a foreign-linked investment firm tied to the United Arab Emirates government quietly bought
what up, Big Pimpin'?
Crypto.
All right, man. Hold on here. Real
World
quick.
Liberty Financial.
Yo, what's going on, gaming?
Bro, I got some shit I want to talk. That's why I open up the call in. Fuck the bullshit. We finna get right to it.
All right, let's go, man. All right, Effie, let's go. So, shit, what you want to get into? We can head right into the Iranian situation if you want.
The Iranian situation?
Yeah, like, bro, what's going on down there? How the protesters are out there, pretty much vowing revenge for their fallen ones.
Oh, yeah, bro, because I actually finally talked to a couple of my friends who are Iranian. I can't give away the name of one of them because they're actually looking on U.S. social media, and I was able to confirm this through a ITC chief in the Navy. So keep that in mind. But let's say
go ahead.
We're gonna call him Pablo because it's far away from a Middle Eastern name. We're gonna call him Pablo. Pablo is responsible. Sorry for the background noise. My daughter is like going fucking nuts.
All right, come on. Well, hold on. Handle the daughter real quick, big dog, because we hear, you know, I love the laughter of children too, but I think that's going to distract the crowd. But all right, I'm going to play the video real quick, gaming. Just let me know when you're ready to go.
Are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something's going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now. Yes.
So, and those negotiations are going to happen on Friday. Steve Woodcock, Jared Kushner among that party for the United States. Here's what's happening in the last 24, 48 hours or so. You got Iran here in the middle of the map, okay? I want to focus down here in the Persian Gulf and also here in the Arabian Sea, because just yesterday, you had 2 incidents that involved the U.S. naval forces in the region. Okay, one was an Iranian drone that was shot down. The USS Abraham Lincoln is about
All right, I'm back.
off the shore of Iran.
Perfect.
So the
All right, let's hear it, Gaming.
Okay, so one of my friends, his name is Pablo, and I have to be extremely vague when I say this because I don't really want my friend from Iran to be fucking, I don't know, deleted.
Executed.
Right? So, Pablo was actually confirmed. Now, this dude been living in Iran since 2010. His parents actually raised him in Saudi Arabia. He goes to and from Bahrain, and he actually finally went to visit Iran in 2022. I also have another friend I actually went to high school with, also going to leave his name anonymous for the sake of his safety. We're going to call him Persian 1. And yeah, so basically what's happening over there, and this is word from them, and I'm using code names for a reason. What's happening over there is they're actually, one, they're killing off their own Iranian citizens. Two, they're also killing off a whole bunch of Afghanistanis and Pakistanis.
No, that makes sense. But all right, now what I was hearing from bro, I got two sources. I got one guy who's part of the protesting group, and then I got another guy who's actually part of the IRGC. So I've heard both extreme views. And the guy from the IRGC has confirmed that there's still protests going on, but they've been contained and they've been allowed to have a limited demonstration. AKA, he said, well, they can protest, but if they do something crazy like that again, force will be brought down upon them. I told him about the death toll. Even he said, like, well, it's looking about maybe like 5,000 to 7,000 now. So we heard with 5 coming out of Iran, they're about to probably come out with 7. And then what I heard from my guy inside who's a protester, well, he kind of gave me the same amount of bodies, but he's saying that, yeah, the protests are still going on. Like, and we're still out here taking up streets and all that across Iran. So, yeah, they may have killed them, but they haven't really stopped the rebellion, I'd say, or the attempt at a rebellion.
That's what I was telling you before. They don't really care about the people that are rebelling. They just don't want to be perceived as weak or see control.
Yep.
And so, with that being said, now the guy from the IRGC, he's never going to admit this because they're sworn to secrecy.
They're what?
But yeah, they're sworn to secrecy.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, when you ask these guys, they see themselves as the protectors of Iran. I was poking around in his head, and I'm just like, the way he describes themselves as the true protectors of Iran, and they truly think that all of this has no validity to it whatsoever. But I'm talking to the protester, and they're going like, they kind of hit me with the same excuse Monty does. Monty hit me. He's like, bro, I don't care if the Israelis are in this or not. As long as somebody's helping us fight them, then it's all good.
Right. And so what essentially is happening is that these protesters are trying to rebel against their government because, like I told you before about the history, a lot of people need to understand this. Iran wasn't Iran that we know today. They were taken over by a coup.
Yeah.
I'm saying this for the benefit of the people in the chat because, we got some liberals in here. And I'm going to just go ahead and, say it on record and, correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen not neoliberal say anything about Iran. Free Gaza, right? Israeli occupation, the whole works. But now the Iranians are rebelling against their government because of something that's traceable, that's verifiable. I laid the whole case out to you. You said the only thing you couldn't find was the connection between Khomeini and the Russians, and that's hard to prove.
Yeah, but everything else,
I ain't making it up. So it's like, where are they at now? Where the protests? Y'all was river to the sea. Palestine will be free. What about Iran, bro?
No, there is a
They
lot of,
sure-
and that's the thing. The only people that's actually speaking up for the protesters in Iran are, well, is the Republicans. But here's the thing though, the anti-war guys, now they're thinking that, and I kind of agree with them on this, that we should probably just leave Iran alone and let them have their own revolution instead of trying to invoke a war out of it. Because let's be honest, the protesters do not have control of any institutions in Iran. Thus, Iran's capability to strike back has not been hindered whatsoever. That's the problem. That's what we were hoping for, but we didn't get that.
But see, what I'm saying is, I'm looking at it from like the social perspective. Because you feel what I'm saying? Like, we was hearing this shit from like, I was deployed right next to the Houthis and Hamas, right? And so I would be hearing stuff about you monster, like how could you blah, 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 blah. What about Iran? They don't like their government. They being fucking slaughtered, bro. Like,
all right,
what about them, bro?
Good point. But all right, though, let's go ahead and get into this Fox News interview and let's see what's going on so far.
All right.
Bring you in the middle.
Negotiating, they'd like to do something, and
Meantime.
we'll see if something's going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now. Yes.
So, and those negotiations are going to happen on Friday. Steve Woodcock, Jared Kushner among that party for the United States. Here's what's happening in the last 24, 48 hours or so. You got Iran here in the middle of the map, okay? I want to focus down here in the Persian Gulf and also here in the Arabian Sea, because just yesterday, you had two incidents that involved the U.S. naval forces in the region, okay? One was an Iranian drone that was shot down. The USS Abraham Lincoln is about 500 miles off the shore of Iran. So the Lincoln thought that this drone was impeding on their activity. That was shot from the sky. Then you had a U.S. flagged vessel that outran Iranian gunboats. Incident number 2 that was tucked up right here at the bottom of the Persian Gulf in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yo.
Go back like 1 to 2 seconds. I'm going to show you something. So you see that map right there? No, pause it. You see that circle where he's pointing at right there?
Yeah.
That's where I was deployed to. That's where the missile that the Yemenis shot at the American USS Carney warship on November 19, 2023. I remember because that was my fucking birthday. So where they're fighting, to show you how small that gap is, when you sail through the middle of it, I can look to my left, see Iran. I can look to my right, and see the UAE.
All right.
It's that small.
Well, dang. Shoot, looks that small on the map. But all right, though, let's get back to it.
Flagged vessel that outran Iranian gunboats. Incident number 2 that was tucked up right here at the bottom of the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. What's happening in the area? Okay, so this is about the area where the drone was shot down. This is the USS Abraham Lincoln. Clearly, you can see all over this map, the naval assets on behalf of the United States Navy are significant right now in the Gulf, especially with the Lincoln just arriving there a few days ago.
I mean,
right now.
I mean, you talk about surrounding the Middle East, man. Like these guys, if they wanted to leave, they couldn't even leave. Like, I'm telling you, you probably got to be the most scariest lineup that Iran has ever seen. Actually, all of our enemies. He's shaking in their boots. I mean, Hezbollah shaking in their boots.
So let me tell you something what happened. And I'm going to be very careful because I know for a fact this is classed. Some of it's classed.
Gotcha.
In 2023, Iranian Air Force sent essentially, and I'm not fucking joking on this, they sent a propeller plane to spy on the USS Gerald R. Ford.
Careful, gamer.
I know, I'm dodging what I say. Crazy as hell, right? I'm saying what's on Facebook also, too. So that's why I'm like kind of stuttering over my words.
Troy, I did forget that there is something, but I was like, wait a second, I know exactly what you're talking about too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all right,
but
go ahead.
But basically, what ended up happening was they know about all the fucking drones or whatever, and I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay.
So if they shot the drones out the air, buddy, they knew about them drones years ago.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. But all right, let's get back to it.
The Gulf, especially with the Lincoln just arriving there a few days ago. This is a choke point, right? It's one of the most important choke points in the world when it comes to transporting oil. All right, Strait of Hormuz, okay? You got 21 miles wide at its most narrow point, but the shipping lane is even smaller. It's only 2 miles wide. So any vessels that are traveling in this area, they are well aware of each other as they pass one another and work their way either up into the Persian Gulf or out to the Gulf of Oman. Hugh Hewitt's with me now, Fox News contributor. Hewitt, here's what this is a sense I gather here. The Iranians wanted to move the talks. The U.S. said, okay, we'll do that. The president talks every day about, he's stopped 8 wars. I don't get the sense that he wants to start a new one. And I think the Iranians know that. Where does that leave the situation as of now, do you think?
How about that?
Good morning, Bill. I think President Trump is acting very calmly, very rationally, but I believe the opposite is true of Iran. Desperate nations, like desperate people, do irrational things. It is irrational to attack the Lincoln. It is irrational to attack a U.S. flag tanker when the United States Navy's got presence everywhere. And then yesterday and today, the news agency associated with the regime in Iran began publishing pictures of American bases in the area. It's another threat. This regime has been near crumbling since Midnight Hammer, and when the protests began in December, it got desperate. It murdered 30,000 or more of its own people. Videos came out this morning about the brutality of those attacks. So I think
the only thing I don't like about this is how they're just throwing out these numbers that are unverified. That's the only thing I don't like, is that they're honestly trying to sensationalize it when it don't need to be sensationalized. Like, bro, people just need to hear, 5,000 people are brutally murdered, and that's all you need to hear. Shoot, I could show you a video
I don't think it's that small of a
who
number,
literally got their brains blown out, and that's all people need to know. That, all right, bet there is some type of like resistance here. But well, what about you? Do you believe the 30K? Because I honestly don't. I think everybody's just hyping it up, and it don't need to be hyped up.
I don't believe it's as high as 30K, but I don't believe it's as low as 5K. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Because I got too many friends who I went to both high school with and then I served with in the Middle East, and they're telling me very particular numbers, and I have to code their fucking names so they won't die. So I'm telling you for a fact, it ain't as low as 5,000, but it ain't at least in Tehran. Because what they're not telling you is these numbers are coming out of Tehran. They're not telling you what's coming out of these other cities that are like miles away from Tehran. And I need people to really understand that. And like I said, for people that that think like, oh, well, the nation of Iran is just trying to restore order. They fucking killed Mahsa Amini for having her hair too far out her hijab.
I mean, come on now. No. They made changes.
Yes.
No.
They made yes, they made some changes. They did some very minor changes for a short amount of time in order to
women can walk around unveiled. Women can be nurses. They toned down a little bit. The problem is though, is that this whole protest situation is the new hot thing. I don't think there's really
the protest started because the protest started because they were burning pictures of Khamenei because they don't fucking like him. The protest also started because of the murder of Mahsa Amini. She was beaten and tortured in jail. And this is not me saying it. This is them saying it.
Hold on now. Are we talking about the same protest?
The protests have been they've been going on right now. Yes, it is still part of that. Yes, it is still
because of the inflation and all that. Like that was a while ago. That's not the same.
That's like the cover story. That's the cover story, bro.
Thank you,
bro. That is dog. It's mainly because of the inflation.
No, it's not.
Like, all right, so when did that young lady die? Because, like, remember, we're going off recent events. Remember, there wasn't a protest for a while now until this inflation problem went off, until people couldn't afford things no more. Like,
there wasn't a protest that we were made aware of.
Come on.
There wasn't protest
going on in Iran until until the inflation problem came about, until the inflation skyrocketed overnight. This has nothing to do with that young lady. Like God rest her soul. Nothing to do with that.
I'm about to get you in lie.
Well, how would it be
Iran
a lie
started
if I'm
exper-
not trying to intentionally
well,
misinform?
not lie. Well, not a lie. I'm about to catch you in their lie.
Okay.
So Masa
Thank you,
Amini,
Gamer.
Masa Amini died, and you can go ahead and look it up if you want. September 16, 2022, in Tehran. What was also happening in Tehran at that time? I remember what was happening because I was fucking deployed over there.
Yep.
What was happening?
No, go ahead.
And I was actually supposed to be there, but I found out I was pregnant, so I was pulled off that.
What was happening over there was they were funding the Houthis, they were funding Hamas, they were funding Yemen, and they were actively trying to start up a proxy war with Israel. I'm not saying Israel was blameless because holy fuck, there was some shit they were doing that they shouldn't have been doing. However, Iran's reaction to it was way over the top. And so at the time, Masa Amini, she posted that she's a model. Might keep that in mind. So she does like hijabi photos or whatever. Nothing vulgar.
Now, I honestly think this is extremely off topic, to be real with you. So we're talking about protesters that were already quelled from her death, which was sad, by the way. And now we're talking about the new one that was started from inflation, and you guys are trying to connect the two.
Wait. You have to
we can agree to disagree,
everything.
But it's kind of going away from the topic.
Let Gamer finish.
No, restate everything you just said because y'all cut out real bad. I missed that entire argument you made.
Oh no! What is an I think I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree because you guys are trying to bring up something that really honestly, in my personal opinion, it doesn't really have anything to do with the protests of today. And that
you can say that and you're entitled to that, but that's one of the reasons why people are protesting over there. There was also a internet, what is it called? Influencer over there in Iran who was killed because he burned the picture of Khomeini. That I can get you the data on that if you want to. This was recent.
Sure, but like I said though, it's you guys are trying to fuse one protest into another, and all right, but there really is no need to relitigate the past because let's be real, people are just happy enough with them going to the streets over inflation. Actually, y'all just happy enough them fighting against the regime. So we need to bring up, this is all because of that lady. And I'm just I don't know, kind of feels like you guys are trying to add a cherry on top.
No, it's
not only from bad inflation and a water shortage.
No,
let's go ahead and
it ain't got nothing to do with that.
Well.
It ain't really got nothing to do with that. In November 2025, an Iranian man named Omid Salark was found dead shortly after posting a video of himself burning a picture of the Supreme Leader Al-Khamenei. And a bunch of people started burning pictures of Al-Khamenei because they don't fucking like him. And I've already established. Wait, before you start talking,
that doesn't really have anything to do with the conversation. You're going off track here.
No,
try to prove a point that you can't really prove.
Seth, you're weak in this area, bro. Let me help.
Bro, I can't. You're going too far off topic. We need to get back on topic.
I'm on topic, bro. I promise you. These are some of the reasons that the Iranian people really fucking hate their government. They keep killing people that disagree with Khomeini. And as I established with you in the past, and you haven't really been able to debunk outside of not having proof that Khomeini had ties with fucking Russia, the people didn't fucking want him. And when the old Supreme Leader came on, the old Supreme Leader came and posted a YouTube video, it fucking revitalized the old Iranian people. Hold up, I'm gonna finish with this. You have Iranian people that are actually begging Trump to come over here and intervene. You have Iranians in America who are helping disseminate the videos because the internet blackout shortage is still happening over there. So there's only so much fucking, you're wrong, this propaganda, this, that, and the other, before you become complicit. That's my point.
All right, then. All right.
Special Envoy Witkoff is going to offer the Iranians the Assad option. You can leave. We'll let you leave, but you've got to leave because this regime is so evil, so fanatical, President Trump knows exactly what he's doing. I can't count the number of times he said the JCPOA was the worst deal ever done. Been saying that for 10 years. I can't imagine he's going to enter into JCPOA 2.0. And so I think it's really a showdown in Oman where the president.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to my man Hellbat. He says, if France covers up grape gangs for years on ends, how long will Iran cover up protests against them for appearances? I mean, at that point, I mean, we all do that. I mean, we all cover things up for appearances.
No, don't give us that excuse.
I mean, don't we? Yeah, we do. And there's no excuse. That's just the reality. I mean, China does it, Iran does it, Russia does it, America does it. I mean, bro.
The first time that the United States does something, you got these fucking disability check worthy, non-fucking literate having ass fucking liberals who like to put themselves in positions to get harmed and then play fucking victim. Be like, oh my God, did you see what?
Damn, I could say that about the Iranian protesters.
Yeah, they're protesting the right
to right there, buddy.
No, it's not a slippery slope because they're protesting the right to not be fucking killed for not wanting to wear a hijab. They're protesting the right to be
protesters.
That's not the fucking ICE protesters. You and I both know. Don't be disingenuous, Seth. Come on, don't do that. You and I both know the fucking ICE protesters for the most part. Emphasis on that sentence. Because I want it to be recorded.
They don't like the government. They want to go against it. They want to shoot the government. I mean, they want to go against government authority. I mean, shoot. It's like, bro, watch, man. I hope this doesn't come, but it sounds like the ICE is going to be equaling the IRGC if we don't get things underhand. And if we come to that, I wonder how the world is going to do us. Are they going to get involved in our politics? Are they going to start backing up the supporters that want to overthrow our government? No, honest question.
First of all, the rest of the world is too fucking broke. Even like me and fucking Monty tried to tell you that China does not have the fucking monetary chops to take on the United States. And you were saying like, yes, they do. And then that fucking report came out where it was like, yeah, they're struggling. I was like, yeah, I tried to tell you ever since their fucking housing industry, which accounts for 45% of their total fucking GDP collapsed. Yes, they don't have the chops to take on the United States. Russia barely does, but they're too busy like being stuck in a quagmire and playing fucking nice.
But what was funny about that argument is that you was also making the same argument saying that, oh, well, they'll go ahead and like spaz out for Taiwan though. So I was just like, I don't know. Your argument's kind of confusing.
They'll spaz out. No, there's like more that you left off. They'll spaz out for Taiwan, but they'll lose in the end because it's not financially advantageous for them. What?
All right. But all right.
So real quick, can I share something off topic, but really, really cute?
Off topic? I don't know, man. We've been off topic enough, Toe.
It'll take 30 seconds. I promise.
Okay.
My three-year-old's trying to learn his ABCs, and his latest attempt was A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What was it? Q, R, S, K, X, Y, Z.
All right. Well, that's
wait, before you go on, Tove, you need to yell at Tove.
What
you need to. Because of last night. We almost fucking lost Tove.
Hey, what?
Oh yeah.
No, wait, like legitimately, we almost lost Tove.
I mean, I don't know about that. We could talk another time about that, though. All right,
bro,
guys,
she
get
almost
back.
Fucking died last night because she was being hard-headed.
Oh, well, come on.
Going to
No,
communicate
she
to
did.
Mr. Witkoff and Jared Kushner, you have one option, which is to leave and then let us destroy your missiles because it's a dangerous, wounded beast, and they are acting completely crazy, not like someone that wants to negotiate.
That's the suggestion about regime change. Wall Street Journal editorial board puts it this way, just today in the paper. The price of oil is lower today than it was at the start of the 12-day war in June, and the U.S.'s options to mitigate disruptions. Iran's regime and its proxies are at their weakest, and its people are waiting. Mr. Trump has forged his opportunity, and this is his moment to seize it. So we wonder and wait whether or not this happens. Right? whether or not, if you're right, the regime capitulates. Hugh, as long as I've been alive, I have never been convinced that the leaders in Iran would agree to a deal like that.
You're right about that, but this is different in that Donald Trump has already shown them the willingness that has not existed in the United States since 1979 to smash them in ways that they never imagined being hit. So when President Trump acts very nicely yesterday in the Oval, what they have to realize is he can hit everything with the B-2s. They've got all of our assets there, the link in there. So I believe that the Ayatollah Khamenei is not particularly rational, and we're hoping for regime decapitation from within the regime, because there are a lot of people who don't want to be dead inside the IRGC, and the Ayatollah is walking them.
Now, Seth, this is where I have to agree
here's
with
the
you.
president of Iran, kind of new to the job, frankly. He said,
all right, wait, hey, yo, what's going on?
I said, this is where I would have to agree with you in terms of like the. Okay. So anyway, this is where I would have to agree with you in terms of like geopolitics. No, I really don't want us to go back to the fucking sandbox. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not interested in going back to the sandbox. And
yeah, go ahead.
If you think Khamenei is gonna go quietly, he's not Maduro. That's all I have to say. I'm not like trying to give him more props than he's worth, but he ain't fucking Maduro, bro.
I mean, to be honest with you, I would like to say this. Like, I would wish we could do Khomeini like Maduro because we'd have been did it. But no, sadly, we're dealing with a bit of a different type of military force.
I'm sorry, but we technically could. We all. Oh, let me not say that.
I mean, we
anyway
could. You just won't be the best to look.
No, stop. I'm telling you to stop so that I don't accidentally reveal something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it going.
I've instructed my Minister of Foreign Affairs, provided that a suitable environment exists, one free from threats and unreasonable expectations, to pursue fair and equitable negotiations guided by the principles of dignity, prudence, and expediency. He doesn't have the final word. The supreme leader does.
No, Bill, he's got as much authority as you and I do. He's just sending out, he's tweeting to the world that he's got power and authority. He's got nothing. The Ayatollah is the supreme leader. Only he and Khomeini, the first supreme leader, run anything unless and until someone arrests or puts a bullet into the Ayatollah in order to save the crumbling regime. They have been blacked out now for almost 2 weeks. They're losing millions of dollars a day. Their banks are collapsing. It's time for them to quit.
We shall see. Hugh, thanks for coming on. The instant analysis as the events unfold.
I mean, here's the thing. It don't look like we want to deal with these guys. I'm gonna be real with you. It doesn't look like we honestly even care about their nuclear proliferation or enrichment. Kind of seems like we just want to go to war with them because Iran, let's be real, they have been ready to give up their enriched uranium. They've been ready to give that up. But we keep on moving over to the, now we want you to give up your missiles. And that's just
Don't open up. Don't open up. Ice is outside. Man, we're not ice. That fucking lives rent free in my head.
Right?
Bro, play that video just one time.
What? The ice video?
Yeah.
Like, ma'am, we're not ice.
The Nick Shirley one.
I do not know which one y'all talking about. I have a lot of
where he exposed the fraud.
Yeah, and there was a lady outside yelling, "Don't open up! Don't open up!"
I would have to dig for that one.
Damn, man.
Like I released that one maybe like a month ago, so I'd have to really
even.
How about you stop saving Gooner content to your Twitter and actually start saving shit to its appropriate folder?
Oh, whatever. Like you have to talk. Do I have to go over to the picture you recently commented on? Do we have to do you like that?
Hey, bro, you can do it. Hey, come on. Show it. Show my comment and show the picture, bro. I ain't scared.
All right, you a real one for that one. You're a real one because you're right. You didn't really say anything crazy. But I was surprised. I was like, okay.
I said, you know what? Nah, show YouTube. Come on, show YouTube. We finna take this break.
Oh.
Hold on, let me see if I can even find that. But that was hilarious, though.
You
when I
can
seen
go
it,
to
I
my
was like,
page.
okay, gaming. Ain't really my type, but I feel you.
I said, put some clothes on. That's all I said. And she over here dressed like a hooer.
Oh.
I mean, shout out to gaming, my man who was cleaning up the language. I gotta respect that. This young lady right here.
Oh,
this is what I said.
I mean, gaming. No. First off,
this is what I said.
So, shout out to the man of God comment right here. Put some clothes on. Make sure to follow my man gaming on Twitter, on X as well. Follow me on X as well. But I feel you though. I mean, it may not be my type, but I know a lot of homies that love that. I ain't even gonna lie,
bro. Like I said. Put some fucking clothes on. Have some respect for yourself. Have some respect for your father. Maybe your little brother, bro.
Damn. Okay. You know what? I love the fact that you doubled down.
That I have to agree with. Not have some respect for yourself. Have respect for your family. Any children you might have. Especially your dad and your brothers who, are
9 times out of 10 women like this do not have fathers, but all the daddy issues in the world.
Bro, and that's why I said put some clothes on, bro.
Real quick.
Let's get back to Iran, everybody.
Nah. Motherfucker tried to bust me out like, don't make me have to shush you with this picture. Nah, nigga, show the picture. Show the picture and what I said. Bad for bad, fuck, nigga.
I'm sorry, anyone who puts that shit out on in the public for everyone to see. I mean,
yeah, bro, I feel Jet. I'll lose my shit if my daughter ever did that. Like literally losing my mind.
Oh my god!
Like if her cell phone plan is still under my name, that shit is cut off.
Right,
bro. You gotta go. You can't even let people know you live here, bro.
You might have to change your last name. But all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I would say no. It's because you live here, because you share our last name, that you're gonna delete that shit and you're going to apologize, not just to myself and the rest of your family. You're gonna apologize to everyone you forced to see that shit.
So you know good and damn well.
But all right, guys. All right, let's keep it
going. Iran talking all big and bad before talks on Friday. They say they only want to meet alone with the United States. Well, yesterday, the U.S. military shot down an Iranian drone flying aggressively around the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. Hours later, 6 Iranian gunboats pursued a U.S.-flagged oil tanker not far from the Abraham Lincoln. Iran is also now pushing to upend the framework of those negotiations that are scheduled for Friday. NATO Ambassador Matt Whitaker.
President Trump is not going to be eternally patient with the Iranians. I think President Trump is willing to have this meeting at the end of the week, but at the same time, he has an armada sitting in the region ready to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that Iran does not ever possess a nuclear weapon.
Senior foreign policy correspondent Jillian Turner has more from the State Department. Jillian.
Good morning to you, Harris. So Secretary Rubio is in the middle of giving remarks right now, and he just signaled that these talks with Iran are indeed back on track, but he is pushing back on some of those erratic demands that Iranian officials made yesterday. You just laid some of them out for us. One of the things they said yesterday was, when we meet with you guys on Friday, we only want to talk about the nuclear issue, nothing else. Rubio just said, essentially, that ain't going to work. Take a listen.
Look, I think in order for talks to actually lead to something meaningful, they will have to include certain things. And that includes the range of their ballistic missiles. That includes.
Bro, and now we're cooked. I'm gonna be real with you. That's wild. Because like I said, we're moving the goalposts. It went from enrichment of uranium, and now we're moving the goalposts to, now we know that y'all are willing to give up that. According to Marco Rubio, and we've been knowing this for a while. I've known this for a while. Iran has been trying to give up their enriched uranium. But all of a sudden, we've moved the goalposts, which you can agree to it or not, but we're moving the goalposts to their missiles. So, and let's be real, I don't think they're going to give up their missile defense system. I think that's going to be the no-go for them. I wish they would, because let's be real, we get everything we want. They'd be disarmed. They would be, well, I'm be real with you, bro, won't be out of power, but we'll feel a lot safer with them in that region. But let's be honest, they're going to take a lesson from Gaddafi in Libya and not give up anything. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, I hope that they do it, but 9 times out of 10, they won't.
Includes their sponsorship of terrorist organizations across the region. That includes the nuclear program, and that includes the treatment of their own people.
Now, overnight, Iran's foreign minister told an Iranian outlet, quote, planning for the negotiations has been made for the coming days and consultations to determine the venue for the talks are currently underway, while info will be shared as soon as it is finalized. That tone, an abrupt departure from 2 alarming military provocations the regime made yesterday. U.S. Central Command destroyed an Iranian drone as it approached a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier with unclear intent. They shot it down in self-defense. Then shortly after that incident, Iranian forces harassed a U.S. commercial ship in the Strait of Hormuz, even threatening at one point to board that vessel. President Trump yesterday seemed determined, nonetheless, to push through with these talks. Take a listen.
They had a chance to do something a while ago and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate.
Yeah, to negotiate their uranium. Now, if they're willing to negotiate their missiles and we move it to, oh, well, not only that, but you gotta, what, I don't know, something with the protesters, is this going to be too much at a certain point? It does seem like we are pushing a bit too hard for, well, a conflict with Iran. Because remember, the main reason we bombed them was over their nuclear enrichment, the threat of the 60%. Let's take it out. Let's not worry about that. Now we're moving from that to, well, their missiles can go too far, and they've advanced them. And that's true. They've showed it to the world how well they've advanced their missiles. But does that mean they're ready to give them up, though? I mean, we'll see, but highly unlikely. And like I said, I wish for it to happen because it will bring an end to the conflict. But if I'm taking it from Iran's perspective, it's just not within their self-interest. Especially seeing that their number one enemy in the region, Israel, still got all their missiles, still got all their nukes. They got nukes and missiles. So, I mean, you know, it would be fair to sit there and be like, how about this? Israel get rid of their missiles and nukes, and Iran, you too. And we'll see how that goes.
So Iranian officials yesterday also made this 11th hour gambit to try and move the venue of the talks from Turkey to Oman. They also want to essentially kick out the other Arab nation participants and go it alone, with the Trump administration. Officials here, Harris, are still working through that series of demands this morning.
Jillian, thank you very much. In focus now, Victoria Coates, former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump, also Vice President of National Security for the Heritage Foundation. Great to see you today. First of all, the president says he's still willing to talk with Iran at this point. That's got to tell me, art of the deal, that he sees some weakness there. He sees some leverage for the United States. What could that be?
Well, I think he has tremendous leverage, Harris. And what he has is the system.
Yeah, I'll admit it. I do too. And I think we can get a peace deal if we just get them to give up their enriched uranium and just leave them alone after that. But like I said, it does look like we're pushing for regime change. So, I mean, shoot, even if they were to give up their missiles, we still might sit there and say, oh, no, that's not enough. I mean, at a certain point, what will be enough if the Ayatollah just says, how about this? I'll step down. I mean, if he says that, then trust me, all conflicts end tomorrow. But all right, though, guys, let's get into foreign news here with Al Jazeera. U.S. shoots down Iranian drones. So let's see what they got to say about this.
Let's get the very latest on all of this from Tawhid Asadi, who's in Tehran. Tell us what you know, Tawhid, of this Iranian drone, and have the authorities said anything about the fact that the U.S. have shot it down?
Well, actually, so far, we don't have any confirmation from the Iranian side about this recent reports, but still we are waiting to see whether or not Tehran is going to come to respond on that. But still, we have to keep in mind that tension is high, and Tehran is saying that there is a possibility of the region being dragged into a full-fledged, all-out confrontational scenario in the region, and regional players should avoid any miscalculation in that regard.
And so, anything at all on the fact the Iranian military is also accused of approaching a merchant vessel at high speed? The Pentagon says there were threats to board and seize the tanker. As you know, the Iranian military was at one point going to be conducting exercises in the Gulf, right?
Well, if I understood you well, because of this technical difficulty we had, speaking of the negotiations that we are expecting, basically we've got a couple of updates. First, we've got a very reliable source at Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs coming out to say that most likely Muscat and Oman is going to host this potential talks between Iran and the United States. This is quite contradictory to previous reports that we had about the possibility of talks being held in Turkey, Istanbul. Also, speaking of the domain of the talks, there is still a line of controversy between the two sides. The Iranian side, on the one hand, it says that it likes the negotiations to be concentrated upon the nuclear program of the country, while reportedly the American side is looking for a package including different demands, including Iran's relations with its regional proxies, as well as the ballistic missile and defense programs of the country. On the other hand, Tehran, it says these are the topics that it doesn't like to talk at all, specifically speaking of its defense capabilities. This is what we hear from the Iranian side. Meanwhile, there is this controversy over the nature of the talks, which Iran says reportedly that it wants the talks to be bilateral between Washington and Tehran, while there is, it seems, a tendency from the Washington side to drag other regional players into this calculation, already intricate one. What we hear from Tehran is, in a sense, like this is an issue between us and them. But what also we had furthermore from the Iranian side is that it is saying it is appreciative of regional efforts to settle down the issues, while the major issue remains to be solved between Washington and Tehran. This is the perspective that we have from Tehran at the time being.
All right, so it does seem like Iran is honestly just trying to take America on one-on-one. No other Arab nations. They can negotiate on their own, and they're trying to see what deal they can work out. Now, like I said, it doesn't seem like, according to Marco Rubio, they're not moving unless the missiles and the enriched uranium are gone. But we'll see if they can come to a middle ground. If they can just get the nukes gone, then, I mean, look, Iran has been ready to give that up. But their missile defense system, yeah, they're not willing. They're not ready to give that up. Now, will they? Maybe, but most likely not. All right, though, let's get into
their missile defense system is a hybrid nuclear ballistic missile defense system. That's why the U.S. and Israel wants them to get rid of it. That's even why the U.K. and Germany wants them to get rid of it. It's not just a conventional warhead ballistic missile system like the U.S. has. It's not like the Patriot or the THAAD system. This system is capable of launching heavier payloads. I can go all into it, but I don't want to without giving up certain information.
Well, heavier and faster payloads. So trust me, they already made this all public knowledge. Heavier, right, faster, more advanced. Like they advanced their hypersonic missiles and all that good stuff. It's like they've just pretty much upgraded their missile defense system.
Well, that and it's a hybrid system. So again, it can shoot both nuclear and non-nuclear missiles. And that is a very real fear of the United States because Iran is not exactly known for being a stabilizing force in the Middle East.
Right. I mean, sure, they do destabilize people with their, or destabilize regions through their funding of terrorism. I'll give you that one. I give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, you're not. Never mind. No, you're right. You're right.
Is confirming Tehran will negotiate directly with the United States after weeks of escalating tensions between the two countries. President Masoud Pezeshkian said in a social media post, in light of requests from friendly governments in the region to respond to the proposal by the U.S. president for negotiations.
But hold on now. I mean, let's be real, though. We're pretty much telling Iran cannot be a sovereign nation that can defend itself in a way. It's like when we say it out loud, I know, it sounds good, but when we say it out loud, we are pretty much saying that, yeah, you're a sovereign nation and all this good stuff, but you cannot defend yourself. Like, yeah. I mean, your enemies can keep their nuclear weapons and they can keep their missiles, but not you. This is one of the reasons why I feel like they're just not going to accept that. But we'll see.
I have instructed my Minister of Foreign Affairs, provided that a suitable environment exists, one free from threats and unreasonable expectations, to pursue fair and equitable negotiations guided by the principles of dignity, prudence, and expediency. A senior Iranian official has told Al Jazeera those talks are expected to be held in Turkey in the coming days. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is expected to meet U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Well, Daniel Levy is president of the U.S. Middle East Project and a former Israeli political negotiator. He joins us from London. Daniel, obviously, you've long had your finger on the Israeli pulse. What's your reading? Do you think that Israel wants to see the U.S. and Iran reach an understanding and end the possibility of military conflict?
I think there's a high degree of clarity on that, Sammy, that Israel is intent, as it has been throughout, and it has succeeded in the past in sabotaging any prospective diplomatic arrangement. We've seen it do that elsewhere in the region, but Iran is a primary focus. It's very clear from the briefings by senior Israeli officials, from what we're getting in the Israeli media, that Israel wants the US to do what it did in June of last year, to strike Iran, but to do so in a more expansive fashion. Of course, there are other things. Israel talks about the nuclear program, but it's the only nuclear-armed state in the region. Israel wants the focus to be Iran, not its continued violations of the ceasefire in Gaza. Israel wants to make sure that in the event of a strike, and Israel wants that military strike, it's not cosmetic, it's far-reaching, and that America has enough assets in the region to protect Israel, because Israel is totally dependent
to achieve
on
what,
that
though?
American
To
protection.
achieve what, Daniel? I mean, if we believe Trump's line that he completely obliterated Iran's nuclear program, what does Israel want then? Is it a matter of a change of government? Or is it state collapse a la Syria?
No, they want the destabilization of Iran because Iran is the only thing stopping them from, well, expanding their borders. To be quite honest with you, like Israel, like they want to expand their borders. The only people that's literally stopping them is Iran. And the thing is, I mean, it's to Iran's detriment because they're going broke over it. I mean, you're talking about a state that not only has a pretty advanced military, pretty advanced intelligence, but also has the backing of the United States. I mean, they're fighting an uphill battle that they are losing right now, because it does look like Israel's about to get what they want, the destabilization of the Middle East through the taking down of Iran. And I mean, hey, you could sit there and, you can have our difference of opinion. You could say, well, no, it'll be the liberation of the Middle East set. And I mean, well, sure, maybe. We'll see how that works out.
Syria and Libya and decades of civil war.
Yeah, and of course, those claims as to the effects of the strike in June should join the long list of not credible claims by the administration. You raise a really important point, Sammy. Although the Israelis have put a lot behind Reza Shah Pahlavi, the return of the Pahlavist dynasty, they don't believe their own hype. They don't think there's a neat regime change option here. The Israeli interest is, as it has been elsewhere in the region, and they have a regional ally, at least one, perhaps more, who see eye to eye on this, which is regime collapse, state collapse, a kind of imperialism for the 21st century, where you look for the disintegration of the state, partition. You support secessionists. Look at that recognition in Somaliland. And in Iran, this would be the big prize. Can you get Iran to implode on itself? You remove not only the threat, but you increase Israel's freedom of action. And that is one of the reasons, Sammy, why you see such a different approach from Israel as opposed to others in the region. Because Israel knows Iran is far away. Israel manages the state collapse nearby by simply occupying other people's territory illegally, whether that's in Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, of course. But if Iran were to become chaotic, then it will be
Oh.
Those neighboring countries that will bear the brunt of that spillover, whether in the Gulf, Turkey, Afghanistan, Pakistan, they are leaning in to prevent this. They know what the Israeli playbook is. And they also know that if Iran were to be removed from the equation, and I'm not suggesting they will succeed in that, by the way, but if that were to happen, then Israel's capacity to assert its military domination in the region would expand significantly. And they don't want that because they look at Israel, many states in the region now, as the most radicalizing, destabilizing, revanchist state.
So where is the US interest? Is there a US national interest that you see that needs that kind of division and domination and instability in the region? Or is this more about the personal interests of the US president, what he feels he must do towards very powerful pro-Israel figures in the body politic there?
Right. I think it is hard to credibly make the case that what we were just describing would be in the US national security interest. You might be able to make a case that Iran is a supplier of energy to China. If you want to strengthen your hand in advance of negotiations with Xi, then you do what you did in Venezuela, you do this in Iran. But I think it's a weak case because I think this does not serve the US. And therefore, you see that debate inside the US, inside MAGA. Is this
true.
America first or is it Israel first?
That's what I'm saying. And here's the thing. Like, I get the whole feel good of, oh, we want to liberate the Iranian people. But outside of that, how does this benefit us? Outside of that. Okay, can anybody really provide a real argument on how this benefits us instead of getting us to waste a whole lot of money for what? Destabilizing a region that's not going to benefit us? What do we get from destabilizing Iran? Because it's like taking out the Ayatollah and what? Put in the king and wait for another revolution to happen down the line? Here's the thing. I mean, I don't even think the king wants to go back to Iran. And people of Iran don't even want the king. Some people do, but not all of them. Or trust me, man, would have been back if it was a majority of them. So how does this help us? How does this benefit America? How does this like give prosperity to the American people? Because I could only see it hurting us, to be quite honest with you. Or maybe it's just not affecting us at all. But anything good for us? I mean, shoot, maybe we do what we did with Venezuela and take control of their oil. Maybe that could help us out. But is that the goal? Like, and if so, then let us know. Quit sitting here and playing in our face, start thinking that, or trying to convince us that all of a sudden we care about all these Iranian protesters. When really, I mean, we just had like a couple months ago, we had people talking about bomb Iran and not really having the most gross language towards Muslims altogether. Now, all of a sudden you care about these group of Muslims? Really? Really now? Okay.
And I think what you have coming out of the Israelis, and you had a flow of senior Israeli security officials, the Mossad chief, the incoming Air Force commander, the chief of staff of the military, the intelligence director, all going to America to make the case for an extensive strike. And I think Israel will take those odds because it hopes that against the debate inside America over the US interest, against those in the region who are significant, who are pushing back against this, trying to assist diplomacy, Turkey, Qatar, Saudi, others, Israel will say our avenues of access inside the US mean that we are in a strong position to push our case. And we're going to see how that plays out, I think, in the coming days.
All right, now let's go over to the next one here. All right, so U.S. and Iran tensions, diplomacy is the only exit. Let's see what they got to say.
Iran's supreme leader has warned that a U.S. attack on his country could trigger a regional war. There's been a tense standoff between the two countries after the U.S. president threatened military action over Tehran's deadly crackdown on anti-government protests.
In the past, Americans repeatedly made threats in their statements saying that all options are on the table and all options include the option of war. Now, this man also keeps claiming that they have sent aircraft carriers and so on. In my view, the Iranian nation should not be frightened by such things. The people of Iran are not influenced by this kind of talk. We are not the initiators of war. We do not want to oppress anyone or attack any country, but in response to anyone who's
besides your own people, which is, I mean, it's fucked up, but I mean, you could do that. Look, you want to oppress your own people, that's cool, but I mean, let's be honest though. Is Iran out here trying to oppress any other country, you know, violate their sovereignty? Did they bomb any other country without permission or roll into a country trying to take it? No, they haven't. We're actually getting on them about how they're treating their own individuals.
Seeks to attack.
Which is, I mean, look, bro, if that's good enough for you, I'm not mad at it. I'm just giving y'all the real.
Iranian nation will deliver a strong blow. Americans should also know that if they start a war this time, it will be a regional war.
While Trump says he's hopeful for a deal with Iran, a U.S. strike force is now positioned in the region. When asked about Ali Khamenei's comments, Trump didn't rule out military force.
We have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
Meanwhile, the Secretary General of Iran's powerful National Security Council, Ali Larijani, has made a statement on X saying, contrary to the artificially manufactured media war narrative, the formation of a framework for negotiations is progressing. All right, Trita Parsi is the Executive Vice President of the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. He joins us now live from Washington, D.C. Trita, thanks so much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. So we've heard Donald Trump say that he hopes a deal with Iran will be made. And we saw this statement that we just talked about from Ali Larijani, the Secretary General of Iran's National Security Council, saying that the framework for negotiations is progressing. From your vantage point, where does that leave things right now? And what is the most effective way of de-escalating this situation?
There are talks going on in the background, and there is an immense effort by regional states, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, to a certain extent Saudi Arabia and Oman, of course, to try to find a solution to this and avoid war. The view of these countries and most countries in the region, with the exception of Israel and potentially the UAE, is that a war would be devastating for the region as a whole. It would not be a quick victory for the US in any way, shape, or form, but would lead to major regional destabilization. The quickest way to avoid this path, because despite the fact that these talks are going on, and despite that some progress is being made, I'm skeptical about the long-term solution unless something much bigger is done. And I think it is, the ball is in many ways in Tehran's court, because I think the most obvious and effective de-escalatory path is for the Iranians to talk directly to Trump. Not a negotiation per se, but just initiate that conversation. We've seen how that has been very effective for other world leaders to be able to diffuse the situation and broaden the parameters of negotiations.
I mean, have Khomeini sit in front of Trump? I mean, yeah, shoot, that might just be the best thing we can get.
So, Trita, let me ask you, what does that scenario look like? How does that conversation happen where Iranian leaders have a direct conversation with Donald Trump? Is that a scenario you can see happening in this climate?
I certainly think it can happen. I'm not seeing clear signs that there is readiness in Tehran for this, but I do not rule it out in any way, shape, or form that it can happen. Many things that have happened between the United States and Iran in the last 20 years that turn out to be turning points were things that most people thought could not even happen, yet they did. And this one too can happen. And it could be through the help of some of the regional states, that the conversation actually would be a three-way or a four-way with one or two other world regional leaders on the call as well. And this is, I think, important for Trump, because I am not seeing any other country that has a major conflict with Trump, but that refuses to engage with him directly. I don't see what the Iranians have to lose by trying this card, a card that they so far have refused to play.
So, Trita, let me get back to a point that you were alluding to just a couple of minutes ago when you were speaking about the fact that Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, has warned that a U.S. attack on his country could trigger a regional war. Is the strategy on his part to instill a fear in regional leaders that a wider, more devastating war may be on the horizon, and therefore to encourage regional leaders who get along with Trump to therefore negotiate a de-escalation?
That is certainly one element of what they're trying to do. But I think the way you phrase it made it sound as if it's a false threat. I don't think it is a false threat. And I think the primary audience of this is Donald Trump himself. I think the Iranian calculation amongst those who are skeptical about diplomacy is that Trump has an...
Honestly, I think everybody's hoping that I would say guys on the non-war side, on the anti-war side, are hoping that Trump kind of sees through the veil. Like, they're trying to get you to attack Iran. They want you to attack them. And even if, like, and here's the thing, this is how you know. Like I said, they're moving the goalposts on their position. Like, think about it. We went from enrichment of uranium to protesters back to missiles. Like, what the hell? So, to be honest, we just want these guys out of power. Like, and we're just going to keep it real. I don't even think the meeting up of leaders will solve anything. I think they would just double down and say, yo, yeah, we want your missiles and your enriched uranium gone. And Iran's not going to go for that. And there's going to be most likely, sadly, a regional war. Now, are we going to flip that switch? Is to be continued, but we'll see, because you never know. Iran could back down and just give it all up. Or we could meet in the middle and just let them give up their uranium.
Exaggerated view of Iran's current weakness. Clearly, Iran is weaker than it was 2 years ago, but the view in the White House, perhaps informed by efforts by the Israelis, is exaggerated. And as a result, he's driving a maximalist bargain. And he's essentially thinking that through this military mobilization, he will be able to force the Iranians to capitulate. But the thinking on the Iranian side is a small war, not in the sense that it would be symbolic, but one in which the U.S. attacks and the Iranians give an unprecedented response in the region and against U.S. forces, will quickly dispel Trump of any belief he may have had that this could be a quick, glorious victory, similar to Venezuela, similar to other military actions that he's taken, and as a result, force Trump to step back and then come back to the negotiating table, but with a much more realistic assessment of what kind of demands he can make and what kind of coercion he can pursue. This is, of course, there's no guarantee that this type of a calculation could work out, and it could, and very likely also end up into a much longer war that would be devastating for all sides. And the Iranians recognize, obviously, they will take huge hits, even in the best case scenario that they have. But I think there is so little faith in negotiations with Trump right now that argument is the one that seems to be prevailing in Tehran right now.
So Trump, so Trita, pardon me, if I can just take what you're saying one step further, if Trump does ultimately decide to launch a military strike on Iran, be it large scale, be it small scale, you're talking about the calculations that are at hand right now. What kind of retaliatory actions do you think we could see Iran take going forward?
Well, the Iranians do have significant missile capabilities that were proven not only during the 12-day war with Israel, but also in the strikes that they did against Doha, that show that they can penetrate all layers of Israeli air defense systems as well as American air defense systems. This would then put a large number of U.S. bases.
Hey, my man Ham trying to put it together right now. He says, Epstein file blackmail leads to U.S.-led regime change in Iran. It's like, man, I mean, a bit of a reach, but I can see where you're getting that from. I mean, well, you know, I think this has been coming up, the immediate push for war with Iran. But yeah, you can sit there and say, oh, the Epstein files drop. Now, hey, these guys might be scrambling to get in war with Iran because they want to, what? I guess not make Israel mad. I don't know. Who knows where he's going with that, guys? I took it in my own direction. I'm not saying that's what Ham is saying.
Is on the risk. It would put other U.S. assets on the risk. And of course, the Iranians have other types of missiles that could be targeted directly at the U.S. Navy in the Persian Gulf and in the Indian Ocean. The intent or the calculation is not that the Iranians could win a war per se. Obviously, they recognize how much they are outgunned. But the calculation is that if they can inflict significant damage on Trump will recognize that this is ultimately a losing proposition for him as well. He may win the war, but he will lose his presidency. Midterm elections are coming up. The last thing he wants is to be embroiled in a never-ending, forever war in the Middle East. And as a result, by being able to push back hard, the Iranians would manage to get Trump to dramatically change his calculations, including his maximalist demands. Again, whether that can work out the way they think is a completely different story. No one knows until until the war has started. But I think hopefully the regional efforts will make sure that this is never tested in the first place. Because I think still the de-escalatory path that is most effective is for the Iranians to simply pick up the phone and make a phone call.
All right. Trita Parsi is the Executive Vice President of the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. Thanks so much for joining us here on Al Jazeera.
Which I honestly hope happens. Like, I actually hope that happens. All right, now let's go ahead and get into it. Will Iran and Israel go to war? Inside story released about a day ago.
U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is yet again in Israel to discuss growing tensions with Iran. The two sides have been trading threats at odds for nearly half a century. Can they find a common ground, or is a new round of conflict inevitable? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Rashad Salamat. Renewed threats to strike Iran have once again raised the stakes across the Middle East. The US and Israel have toughened their stance against Tehran in recent weeks as the country was gripped by nationwide protests. Iran accused Israel of interference in those demonstrations. As the war rhetoric ramps up, Iran is threatening to inflict heavy damage on Israel if it is attacked. The tension between the two sides followed decades of mutual hostility that has shaped the geopolitics of the region. So does diplomacy stand a chance in this long-running conflict? We'll get to our guests in a moment. First, this report from Imogen Kimber.
US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is back in Israel. He's been meeting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Army Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir. But one of the main topics on the agenda is Iran. Fear has been spreading since the President of the United States threatened to bomb Iran for the second time in just months. Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei says a US attack could ignite a regional war. In response, Trump said if the Iranians don't agree to a nuclear deal, we'll find out if there will be. And he has increased the number of US forces in the region, including in the Strait of Hormuz on Iran's southern border, critical for oil shipments.
We have a large armada, flotilla, you can call it whatever you want, heading toward Iran right now.
Iran responded to the show of military might, threatening to hold naval exercises in the same spot, and reiterated its right to defend itself. And reports say the Iranian foreign minister will attend talks with US envoy Steve Witkoff in Ankara on Friday. But the US and Iran were not always at odds. The US backed the Iranian Shah, in power before the 1979 Islamic Revolution. But with the revolution, diplomatic relations between Iran and the US and Israel were over. In the 1990s, the US began heavily imposing sanctions on Iran, which intensified in the 2010s and have damaged the Iranian economy. From the 80s, Iran developed proxies in the region: Hezbollah in Lebanon, Assad in Syria, the Houthis in Yemen, Hamas in Gaza, and a number of paramilitaries in Iraq. As Iran continued its nuclear program for what it says are peaceful purposes, Israel began assassinating important Iranian figures rather than fighting its proxies, action it never comments on. Fast forward to June 2025, many of Iran's proxies have been severely weakened. Israel and Iran have their first direct conflict, and the US carries out strikes on Tehran and its nuclear program. Now, the US and Iran may be back to the negotiating table, but even so, American warships are making their presence felt on Iran's doorstep. Imogen Kimber, Al Jazeera for Inside Story.
And all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it a night on that one. I'll be back later. Well, I'll be back tomorrow. Let's see here. Tomorrow, oh, man. Well, sure. I did say on Friday we were going to do like at least try to do a 6 to 8 hour stream, but we're going to go ahead and end it on this note. And shout out to my man. Oh, what happened to gaming?
I don't know. I've been waiting because I shared something that went right along with what you were with the Iran thing in the comments, but I was waiting for him to say something because I was about to say about them saying they're mostly peaceful, their nuclear program for mostly peaceful, and I'm thinking, if it was for mostly peaceful, why do they fund all these terrorist groups?
Oh, because they want to fight back against Israel and what Israel wants to do in these groups, and also against their enemies as well. Like in Yemen, the reason they fund the Houthis is because you got the UAE and you got Saudi Arabia also funding groups in there to fight. So it's almost like these guys are funding their favorite groups in their areas for either their own self-interest. So well, like, okay, so because Iran and Israel hate each other so much, of course Iran is going to fund Hamas because Hamas is stopping Israel from taking over the Gaza Strip. And what Israel wants to do, take over that Gaza Strip, which they successfully did, by the way.
And I was also because he was yelling at me earlier because of last night. I was wanted to tell him, well, he'll be happy to know that they put me on the blood pressure medicine that Monty was yelling about. Because it got bad last night, and I didn't realize how bad it was.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad everything's all right. Well, that's good to hear. But all right, though. Shoot, I'm gonna have to. Well, game didn't come up, gaming ain't come up yet, so we're gonna go ahead and close it out. Appreciate you for coming up, Toe. I'm gonna go ahead and end on this funny clip real quick because apparently, I always play this clip when we talk about Iran because Trump literally is talking crazy when it comes to Iran, but I respect it. So,
and I posted a funny song about it. It was the song "Bomb Bomb." The old song.
Yeah,
I found it.
But all right. Well, shout out to well, all right, sis. We're gonna go and end it on this one. I appreciate you guys for pulling up. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. This is Set with Set Media. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Appreciate the support, guys. Peace.
Like a thief in the night, I send me a strike. BT, nigga. Drop 3 bombs at the end of discussion. Fuck, I ain't running from nothing. If you see me running, I'm running for president. Missiles on missiles, you know how we coming. Tell all your men we gon' blow up the country. I see you tweeting online, you a sucker. One more threat and I'm pressing that button. They trying to impeach me, they know that I'm thugging. I'm getting locations, I'm dropping 100. They sending that shit, they get stopped in the sky. Said one more thing, everybody gon' die. Since 6 of the men and they making it hot. I don't need no permission to blow up your spot. I don't need no permission to make you a target. You must not heard what happened to Hey Barack. They must not heard what happened to Bin Laden. 6 men deep in everybody body. If we get it started, nigga, we ain't stop. I take them to world war like I'm Johnson. They done let a real slime in the arm. Stop talking about nukes, you ain't even got it. I won't say your name, but I can't pronounce it. Fuck is it, Masoud, Masal, ooh, first of the money we clocking they rip. At a home on the head, we tactical with it. Take over your country, infested with